So, and what I mean when I say someone's looks should be the last thing you pay attention to, because the only reason why looks factor into attraction is because you're looking to mate, right? You want to be physically attracted to whoever you choose to be with, but there's plenty of people as you journey through life that you will find yourself attracted to that aren't necessarily physically attractive. Now, they're not detestable and they don't disgust you, but you're not with someone simply because of physical attraction, if that makes sense.
That's like Mom and Dre.
I know, guys.
Dre, when we first met him, was a completely different person as far as like presentation.
Mm-hmm.
As far as, I mean, the way he presentation physically and energetically.
Mm-hmm.
So his energy was different, but his physical appearance, like he didn't have his straight teeth. That's just that everybody has a dream of having straight teeth, including you. He wasn't picture perfect.
Do you know how women? Yeah, how many women would pass my husband by because he only had 6 teeth in his mouth?
I forgot all about that too.
I did too, until you brought that up.
I
forgot that his teeth are fake. And there are women, and in the time, it's funny because I would see so many posts. He has to have straight teeth, beautiful smile. I was like, y'all would have passed up on an amazing human simply because of whatever his oral journey was up until that point. Baby, get them teeth pulled, go get these dentures, and let's go. I mean, I was embarrassed, and he was embarrassed, that's why he didn't talk a lot. But I was embarrassed.
That's sad that he came from, that's indoctrination though. From his environment and the fact of just allowing yourself to get that bad. Allowing yourself to,
We are talking about Sexy Lady. We are talking about Angel, our 12-year-old's crushes, and why these people she has chosen to crush on. And one of the things that she said for all 3 of her crushes were physical attributes. They're attractive. And so Adoy, my 19-year-old, was saying attractiveness isn't very, why are you looking at what they look at? She was like, are you looking to make babies with them, marry with them? Why are you looking at what they look at? And I was like, attractiveness is important, but yeah, we should only be looking at attractiveness for mating potential, not because, this is why I'm going to be with someone. You know what I'm saying? How will our genetics link in together? Will you be an asset to my bloodline? I'm not bringing anyone into my bloodline that is going to take my bloodline backwards. You know what I'm saying? Everyone that I allow to enter into my family space. So this is the vetting process.
As far as take a look at how I had that Makari situation, where a friend from my friend from school.
Mm-hmm.
He had to be vetted. I mean, Dre, of course, wasn't all peaches and rainbows about it, but...
Well, men don't, and that's why men need to stop acting that way when their daughter brings someone home.
Well, that's what they were doing with that guy in the white shirt at the B&B. Because he's the one with the locks. Because he was...
Is he new?
He's not new, but he's not family.
Okay.
He might be cool with Janice, but he ain't cool with Dre. Dre and I were talking on as far as we don't know his character, we don't know who he is.
Hey Fluffy. Yes.
And to vet human. You gotta kind of either be engaged with them. So I mean, he was kind of engaged as far as playing cards and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can kind of get a lot out of people about how they play games and stuff.
Yeah.
As far as their mindset and their strategy and how they speak and who they could become.
Yeah.
But who knows if Dre was taking that as an actual time to vet him.
I don't think people know that you're supposed to vet people.
Right, but it's in theory. When Grandma was like, I need to meet them. When I was like, I got someone pulling up. When Grandma chimed in.
Yeah, well, if you're bringing someone into the family, first of all, I believe the way that I am creating my family dynamic, you need to bring whoever you're bringing into your life into your family's life, because your family has a different perspective but you are you are an extension of your family, right? And so being an extension of your family, yes, you have your own way of manifesting how you were raised, right? Angel's gonna manifest how she was raised, the way that she does. Adoy's gonna manifest the way that she was raised. I don't know why I'm still upset that you took my B from my ABC in my names. Now I have AA,
Where?
C, Angel, Bailey, Caden.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you took my B.
It's so funny. I've been thinking about that too. I was like, well, what am I going to do?
Yeah, you took my B. Anyway, so we're all going to be who we are in our version of our nurturing. I learned that word yesterday. It's not raise, it's nurture. I like nurture better. And so we're all going to respond differently to our nurturing experience. And in our nurturing experience, we're going to go out into the world and we're going to find people that we want to couple with. And of those people we want to couple with, we need to now bring them back to our family, because our family that nurtured us will be able to utilize their skills to assess the person. So we're assessing them, but we're already assessing from a biased perspective, right? Because this is the person I want to be with, so of course they're perfect. But the people who nurtured us and raised us and instilled our value system and our character, now they're also observing this person, and so they're getting an additional viewpoint of this person. And so their feedback is important when it comes, especially when you know your family has your best interest at heart. If your family doesn't have your best interest at heart, this doesn't work. But will you shut my door? But if your family has your best interest at heart, they're able to give you feedback of their observations. So when grandma was like, I need to meet them, well, what are you assessing? You know what I'm saying? You guys are all sitting around the table playing cards and spades and stuff like that. Hey, friends, you're all sitting around the table playing cards and spades and stuff. Are you paying attention to what they're saying? Like, if the game starts going their way, how do they act? If the game starts not going their way, how are they acting? You got to pay attention to all that. These are all simulations. At what point are you going to pay attention to you and those markers and making that noise? I want you to focus on making the least amount of noise in every single thing you do. That is your task for the next week, okay? Everything you do, figure out how to do it with the least amount of noise. Because children make noise. Adults know how to move in silence. Do you understand? Okay. Your response shouldn't have been the place where you chose to make the least amount of noise. But okay. Anyway, so we need to understand that in life we are given opportunities always to assess the type of human that we're interacting with. And this entire weekend was an opportunity to assess the type of humans that we're interacting with. The type of humans that we married into. I married my husband sight unseen. I hadn't met his family. They hadn't met me. And so
that's why you're able to have so many issues right now, because shoot, you're just some broad to them. Not saying that that's what you are, but the perspective of, like, the first is something, conflict happens.
They base their liking of me or not liking of me off of Dre's progress and Dre's happiness. And he made progress with me, and he was happy with me. And they also base it off of his previous relationship where she did none of those things. So anything is an upgrade from where he was at. But they didn't know me. So the moment that Dre started talking about, oh, she's crazy and she's stressing me out.
Or when Aubrey's like, not everything has to be a big conversation. That's literally who you are. Excuse me.
Yeah.
You don't know who I am then.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot talk, but there was a situation where I was doing Andre's hair, and I was like, since I'm doing your hair, I have earned the right to talk to you. He was like, I didn't say that you can't talk to me. I was like, but I want you to know, because I am giving you my time, that I want your time, undivided. So you were giving me this conversation. He wasn't picking up what I'm saying. So for him to always say you overthink things and you think too much, I'm saying you don't understand what people are saying when they say things that have a bit more meaning than what you're used to. So when I say I'm buying your time, I want your undivided attention.
That's the thing. Not every metaphor thing is gonna sit with people. Because of me, when you say buying time, I understand what you're doing. But
Yeah.
him, he's like, buying my time.
Well, that's what I said. I told him, I want your undivided attention. And so we're talking, and Aubrey comes outside, and he's, talking all loud and distracting Andre. And I'm like, Andre, I paid for your time, so don't give him your time. Tell him, excuse me, I'm having a conversation, and respect the fact that you said that I can have your time. Mm-hmm. But he's too busy engaging in foolery, because everything doesn't have to be serious. He's too busy engaging in foolery when I'm literally giving him information that he's asking for. So he asked me what's going on with Dre. And I'm telling him the depths of what's going on with Dre. He's like, man, I didn't know all of that. And I was like, yeah, because your dad's not talking. And now here comes distraction, i.e. Aubrey. Oh, you big-headed ass nigga. And they going back in the same stuff, the same exchange. Like, just because you only know how to engage with someone on the same level doesn't mean that you must engage with them over and over and over again.
The same way.
Because if you think about, and I started tracking the words that Dre says to me today. Like, what has Dre said to me? I forgot that I was tracking, but I'll have to write down what he said to me in our last conversation, just to see what's the value of the language he uses with me. Like, everything doesn't have to be serious, but if the times in a 24-hour period that you speak to someone that you say you love, and you're speaking, I paid the bills, I ain't really had the money, I'm out, hey, what's up? All good. Like, in 24 hours, these are the type of words that you exchange with me.
That's what I was thinking about when I was in that house. Like, if I did talk to someone, it would be because we were sitting down having a conversation and meeting. But, like, after that, I didn't talk to them the rest of the weekend. Like, I'm like, at least I had that conversation with you so you know who I am. It's not like, oh, you getting breakfast? All right. Like, that's air filler. That's filler word.
Yeah, that's filler language. I like that. That's filler language. And it's fluff, and people just surround themselves with fluff. And I literally had to start yelling. I was like, Aubrey, I'm having a conversation with Andre. Can you please respect that? Aubrey, I'm having a conversation with Andre. Can you please respect? Aubrey, I'm having a conversation. We are talking right now. Can you respect it? Sis, I'm just like, you're a grown-ass 50-year-old man. You don't know how when you see two people having a conversation, either you stop and you listen and you see if you can join the conversation, or you just walk by. You don't interrupt the conversation, draw attention to yourself, and create a whole nother thing and totally disregarding what's happening here. Because me and him aren't just sitting here talking shit. I'm literally giving him information. Right. So first of all, we need to teach our children how to have conversations. And we need to teach, especially these parents who are like, my kids are everything for my kids. Guess what? You never taught your children how to wait for your attention. They just walk up and start talking to you, and no matter what you're doing, you're like, yeah, baby. No, say excuse me. Wait until the proper time to enter this conversation. And if you see the nature of the conversation, do not come in here and tell me about your blue belt when you see me trying to hash out some stuff with your dad.
Right, you lost your favorite purple belt.
Yeah.
Tell me about how you got your blue. I don't care about your blue belt.
Yes, I'm literally trying to save my marriage here, and you want to tell me about your purple belt. Wait. Read the room. So these parents are missing an opportunity to teach their children how to read the room, and now we got a 50-year-old man who's playing victim because I have to wait. People wait until they're victimized. They're not listening until they're victimized. So now I'm the bad guy because I have to yell, hey, stop talking. Leave this young man alone. You are his elder, and you are demonstrating for him that it's not important if you're talking to somebody. I get to interrupt, and you don't. And you're demonstrating that for him right now as his elder. You doing too much. No, you're not doing enough.
Well, yeah, that ties into like the whole conversation we had with Dre. He's like, well, the kids should know better what to follow, what not to follow. What example are you setting, though?
Yeah. We're not setting the best example, and we think because we're not out doing exactly what they would be out there experiencing, our example is, it doesn't matter.
But it's adjacent. It's the same thing. It's literally, if you do it here, you can do it out there.
Exactly. So, like, not picking up after yourself. If you don't pick up after yourself in your home, you're not going to pick up after yourself in the streets. You know what I'm saying? You can't get out in the streets and, like, pick up after yourself. Well, I have practiced my entire life not picking up after myself. Why am I going to be performative simply because we're out here in the streets? You know? That's the old adage or whatever, the saying where they say, what happens in this house stays in this house. You know, or when we go out in public, don't be acting a fool. Well, don't be acting a fool, period.
Right.
So
back to you and your
back
crushes.
to you, crushes. Yeah. I was like, okay, back to you and
I
your
have work
crushes.
at 6 though, so we do need to leave in the next hour.
All right. So tell me why these are your crushes. We've established that looks should be. Where's my whiteboard?
Right.
I know that. Don't worry.
It's not.
I know not
If
to
you-
like people for looks. I have dated people based on personality.
Well, I have never known that you dated anybody, so this is more the conversation.
I told you about that kid that I dated at school.
Yeah, Glow. Is that what you be singing to him?
No, I told her about the guy that I dated for like 2 weeks.
All right. So here we have looks. Tell me what else.
His last, I remember.
What do you mean?
Why do you like people? Tell me so I can write it down.
On your paper, you wrote it down.
Personality.
Personality.
And, what else?
Yeah, Glow.
The way they talk. Grammar.
What does that represent, though?
What do you mean? Good grammar or bad grammar?
Let's dig deeper. The way they talk, and then you dug a little deeper and you said grammar. Why does their grammar matter? What's
Because
there?
I don't like talking to stupid people.
So it
Well, it's not stupid.
symbolizes intelligence. So intelligence matters to you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's different.
IQ.
Intelligence.
Lola Bunny.
I can't spell, so we just gonna let that rock. Anybody know how to spell intelligence?
I
I
do.
do. Can I spell it? Can I spell it?
Just tell me so I can write.
I don't.
So we're gonna say IQ. Boom. Do you need to write it in order to know how to spell it? Is that why you need to spell it? I need a dry erase marker if you.
I have one.
Okay. Here.
Oh yeah, if I get one from the store, you're saying.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cause mine is like gives you 2 good writes and then it's gone. And I tend to use the dry erase
How
marker
would I use
often.
the store?
Your
Is
2
it-
legs.
That or we'll take a lift, cause I don't wanna. Like walking is like 30 minutes and then.
All right. What else after intelligence?
After intelligence. I think we pretty much covered it, guys.
So number 3, looks, personality, intelligence. That's all you're looking for. You're not looking for anything else.
Well, she's 12.
Well, I'm asking her. Like
Yeah.
before we.
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know.
This is your opportunity to develop, because what we're doing is establishing when you go out into this world and you're deciding who are your crushes. We're developing a system, right? And it doesn't, like I said, when we take into consideration God, self, others, the world, it doesn't have to be equally. It can be God first, period, but everything's interchangeably. So sometimes looks matter more than personality matters more than intelligence, and vice versa. So it's not set in stone, but if we actually have a criteria and we're not creating your criteria, this is your criteria, we're just teaching you how to apply your criteria. So this is the cake. You have all the ingredients of how to make a cake. Now we're figuring out how to put the ingredients together, so now you can go through life starting at 12. Okay, is this person qualifying to be a crush of mine? And what we know now is these 3 things must be present. Okay? Something that I would like to add is, are they coachable? Which means, do they know everything, or are they open to learning? So I'm going to add coachable into the criteria of someone that should have your attention. What? Ask a question so I can answer it.
Why are you choosing for me?
Because I'm your mother and I'm helping you figure this life out. Would you like to figure out this life on your own, or would you like to help in the wisdom of your mother?
I thought it's off of what I wanted. You know, my personal wants.
Okay, and are you going to limit this decision to just your personal wants, or are you open? Are you coachable in allowing new information to come in so that you can decide from a different perspective? Are you open to additional information? Excuse me? Okay, so that's why I'm adding. That's why we're having an open discussion, so that things that you may not have thought of, would you rather sit and have a conversation? I'd be like, no. Or would you rather have a conversation with somebody who's like, you know what, I can see that. And now you can make some impact. Which would you prefer? Excuse me? I'm not playing kitty games with you.
This is the first one.
You would rather someone that denies everything you say?
No, you said no after. I said the first one.
I said, would you rather have a conversation with someone who's like, no, actually, no, actually, no, actually, or would you rather have a conversation with someone who's like, you know what, I understand what you just said, and then they make sense of what you said?
Second one.
Okay, so that is a coachable personality. Is that something that you believe that could be valuable when you're looking at someone to date?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not just me telling you this is what needs to happen. You actually see the value of what I'm saying, correct? Okay, so that's what's happening. Do you see anything else that could be added to this list?
Respectful.
We're determining.
Traits, as far as if you
We're qualifying crushes.
go ahead.
Hey, Carbs. You had the baby yet? It's been 3 weeks.
Really?
It's been 3 weeks.
Has she had the baby? Have you
I
had
don't
the
know.
baby?
Have you had the baby, Carbs?
Drum roll, please.
So you said integrity,
I was saying respect.
respectful.
As far as like how you treat people around you. Are you nice to me but rude to the world? Or like what's going on here? Because that's a disturbance.
So we're going to say respect to others. So we'll just say the number 4. She had the baby yesterday.
Timing.
Yay.
Congratulations.
How was labor? How did it go?
Right, is mama there? What's going on now?
Did mom come back down?
Right, did mom?
Hey, Reed. Yeah. Reed, Carby had the baby. We got a nephew. Woo! Hey, friend. Yes, we have a new nephew in the family. Message me your address. I will send you
Care package.
Or
or
if you're registered, go on Amazon and
create a
wish list. Yeah, do this, Carbs. Go on Amazon and like by the time you have your 3rd baby, you don't need nothing. Like just give me diapers. All I need is diapers. I don't need the cute little towels. I don't need the cute little I don't need all these clothes that are gonna grow out in a week. Just send me some goddamn diapers and wipes. Right. But go on Amazon, create a wish list, send it to me, and I'll pump it out to the community so that you at least get something from me, So go ahead and do that and let me know. I had a C-section. Mom comes back Thursday when I go home. His name is Kairo. Kairo. Cairo.
Ask if I said it right or if she said it right. Because if not, we'll keep working it.
I said Cario. That's 1. She said Cairo. That's 2. Who said it correctly? Or 3. Neither one. Bailey said it right.
Okay, Cairo.
All right. I was about to say diapers and wipes is cool. My registry got bought up. Boom. Go ahead. Yes, Bailey said it right. So, just go on Amazon and create a wish list and have like bigger diapers, right? Because they're only going to be newborn for so long. So get some 3-month, 2-month diapers and just send that to me. That way I can, we're your family too. Like if you don't want to do it, you don't do it. But if you do it, send me the link and we will get you stuff for your baby because we want to celebrate our nephew coming into the world, young Cairo. So congratulations.
Yes. King Cairo.
King Cairo. We're talking about, Angel said that she has a crush. And, she said she went to back to school night and she saw 3 of her crushes. And we were like, well, what qualifies as a crush? And so I was like, write down why these people are your crushes. And she said looks, personality, intelligence. And now you guys can also add, because this is our village, I added coachable because you want someone who is able to learn, right? You don't want a brick wall. We know what it's like to be married to a dang brick wall. And Adoy added respect to others, and I put in a 4 right there because when we establish the things that we need to consider when we are moving through life. We said, or I said, self, others, the world. I was talking to my friend yesterday. I did an interview. I'm starting to do interview, y'all. So if y'all want to be interviewed, and you know, there's more to it, but I'm interviewing people. I'm interviewing elders. So if you know an elder who has wisdom, that I can hear their story, interpret their wisdom, and push that wisdom out into the world, because our wisdom is dying with our elders because they don't know how to deliver it in a way that it can be received. So if send an elder my way, we can have a conversation and I can learn from their life and take those lessons and teach us. Anyway, the person I talked to yesterday was like, also God. So we need to, whenever we do something, it needs to be God. Is this pleasing to God? Self, is this pleasing to myself? Others, other humans, is this pleasing to the collective? The world, is this pleasing to the world? And then, of course, this is the long form, right? The drawn out thing, but the short form, is it pleasing to God? Because is it pleasing to God is God. Is it pleasing to self is God. Is it pleasing to others is God. Is it pleasing to the earth is God. So pretty much, am I living a life that's pleasing to God? So when they show respect to others, the others that we are talking about is the 4 things. Yeah, I posted a video today saying I had the baby. All right, we will be over there. All right, so do we have anything else that we want to add to the qualities of a crush?
Nada.
Hey, Michael, if you like somebody, what are you looking for? If you like somebody, what are you looking for?
I already found someone.
And what did you find? Were they funny? Were they
Funny.
cute? Were they smart? You could play with them, you could talk to them. Why did you find that person?
Why do you like her?
Why do you like her?
Because she's funny.
Because she's funny, so that would be personality.
She does the same thing as me. She's like the opposite, but
So
when
things
I
in
hear
common.
her, sometimes I laugh.
So things in common. And can teach you something. Because they have. Well, no, can teach you something means is we both like going boating. They like sports. And because I'm coachable, I can learn about sports. Right? Instead of go and do that with your friends because I don't want to do it. So now you got to go find friends to go do the things you enjoy because the spouse you have chosen doesn't enjoy the same things you do. So if we have that as a qualifier, the person that I choose to spend my life with and my time with is someone who enjoys a bulk of the things that I like to do, right? Because you don't want to... I had a boyfriend where we only had coming together as our only thing in common. Besides that, and sleeping in the same bed, we didn't have anything else in common, which means he led a life completely separate of me, and I led a life completely separate of him. You don't want that. You want to be able to do as much as you can with your person. So that's how you maximize your time. I think they should be secure in self. Because you don't want someone that is clingy and wants your time all the time and asking you who, what, when, where, and why, and all these things. Gotta run, taking the kids out for bonding time. Love it. I told him, Adoy said be safe. Well, she's already gone, but I told him that's a lot of pressure on one person. I'd look for, okay, here we go, there's more. I look for someone who is funny and can communicate their feelings.
Communication.
So communication, someone who can communicate.
This list is beyond. We're like, Angel, do you resonate with this? Do you want someone who can communicate well, or what is communication? Because we're putting things on your list for you to value, but if you don't value it, we need to understand where the disconnect is for you not to want these things for yourself.
I mean, I want communication, but y'all think you want to.
Well, no.
You want to.
No,
that's not good
You
communication.
guys are the ones that are writing everything. And then when I said I didn't want such and such on there, you guys said, Or
What don't you want on here?
Well,
Because the thing is,
okay.
if you don't know how to apply it,
That's why
that's
I want it there.
that's different than it shouldn't be here. Because now it should be here.
Right.
Teach me how to apply it. This is having all the ingredients to the cake, and now we're going to teach you how to put the cake together. Do you understand?
If you want the best outcome, I would appreciate if you look up and you pay attention, because this is about you and your standard of self and how you're pulling people into your world.
And if you bring the wrong person up in this family, you gonna know. So before you even get to us, you know what you can bring to us. Our opinion matters. My husband can't be my only New York City friend, and I told him that's too much pressure. It is. It's too much for your friend, but your spouse should be everything, but doesn't have to be everything, if that makes sense, right? Like, you and your spouse should be able to go on vacation and completely enjoy each other without having to pick up a phone to occupy your brain, or watch TV to occupy your brain, or go find somebody else to you should be able to enjoy your spouse 100%.
Yeah, I had fun when Dre would leave and hang out with us. I was like, oh, interesting.
About what?
Like when we were at the pool, or
Oh yeah, when he would come and hang out with us.
yeah, I'm like,
Yeah,
go be
so
with the people that you called out here.
yeah, so your spouse doesn't need to be everything, because that's too much, but your spouse needs to be everything. So, I mean, you get it because you're a grown-ass woman, and the 12-year-old will get it eventually because we're going to keep talking to her.
Well, I'm going to give you all like 30 minutes. I'm going to get dressed.
Okay, so
We'll be leaving after.
we have a good list here.
Yay.
Well, actually, I need you to focus. If you're not learning, then
listen,
you're going to keep talking about this every single day.
Yeah, if you don't learn it now, then you're going to bring in people, and you're like, well, does this... All right, just...
Well, I thought he was cute.
Yeah, we're like, well, you got the looks, check.
Well, I thought he was cute.
The personality, check. Oh, but he is a bad communicator. But is he coachable? If he's coachable, okay. Has he demonstrated intelligence? Does he respect self and others? So now that we have this list, here's our list. We have looks, personality, communicates well, intelligence, coachable, respect to self and others. I can't read that one. What's this one?
Things
say?
in common and can teach you something, secure in self.
All right, so this is just the framework, right? I think if we have a strong framework, if we start talking to our children about what the qualifying factors are, the why they choose to allow anyone in their life, then we can start saying, oh, okay, I see why you attracted to this particular person. Or you can say, okay, let's beef that up a bit. Let's put a bit more filters in place so that the people that you do allow in your life, they at least have these basics. And it's not just these words, because what are these words? Words mean nothing until you apply meaning. And so now you go down the list and you say, okay, looks. I think looks are important when you're looking for someone who, of course, you're attracted to, but also someone to couple with. So we can't be like, ooh, I like ugly men. Well, then you got to make a baby with the ugly ass nigga, and then who knows what that baby's going to look like. So looks are important, but they shouldn't be end all and be all, because there are beautiful people who don't have any of these qualities, and these are the qualities of a human that you can actually live a life with. You can't live a life of peace with someone who just looks good, but they don't have anything else. So looks are important, but why are looks important? All right, so now we're going into personality. Do they make you laugh? If laughing is important, laughing is important because it keeps you young, it keeps you alive, and what do they want to laugh at? Do they want to laugh at the expense of others? Do they want to, I was in a house this weekend, and the jokes that were being told, it was just like they were at the expense of, shut up, you old big-headed ass. Like, everybody's laughing, but this is what we're laughing at. So now we're looking at the person
that do that make jokes at the expense of other people. Like, it's like, you're weird.
Yeah, so now we're assessing the personality of the person or the people that we're choosing to align with. Does their personality, like, yeah, everybody's laughing, but what everybody's laughing at ain't stuff that make me laugh. So yeah, they have an amazing personality, a magnetic personality, but it's not attracting me. So also we have to make sure that the people that we choose to align with please us. That should be the number one. Well, please the God. We are God, so please us.
Oh my gosh.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And see, this can go astray too. But it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks. Oh, I don't like them. Well, I like them. You know, or, oh, I like them, but I don't like them. But now you're dating someone because your friends like them. Well, you date them up. Like, I don't want them. So they have to be, they have to be pleasing to us. But what's pleasing to us is because we really thought about what's pleasing to us. They can't be pleasing to us because they look good. They can't be pleasing to us because of one or two of these things. We need our entire list checked, because someone who is attractive is important, right? I don't want to be with somebody that I gotta force myself to engage with. And y'all know what I mean by engaging. I don't want to force myself to hold your hand. I don't want to force myself to look at you because you're not attractive. And you did attract me because I don't like attractive people. So what you actually physically look like doesn't matter. But guess what? You're a shit human and you're ugly. Ugh. And now I'm stuck with you? No. At least give me something to look at. So pleasing to us. Looks, because long-term looks matter. Long-term looks matter. And what you think is beautiful is different than what I think is beautiful. So they don't have to be beautiful to the world. They just got to be beautiful to you. Personality. What do they laugh at? What type of jokes do they tell? Are they telling jokes at the expense of other people? Are they able to find the beauty in life? Are they? You have 3 choices in life that I have identified. There might be more, but we're just talking about the 3. Whenever you have a choice in life, you can either choose to just take it for granted and just go through it, right? It happened. You can either view it from a negative perspective or you can view it from a positive perspective. Those are your 3 options. So when we start thinking about timelines and we think about the choices that we're making, every choice we're going to go just straight with nothing. We're going to make the negative choice, and that version of us goes that way. The version that did nothing goes that way, and the version of us to make the positive choice goes that way. So at any given time, there's 3 versions of us. We've seen it in movies all the time. At any given time, there's 3 versions of us. I want to make sure that I am the one that chooses the positive every single time, right? I don't want to be the one that says, nothing happened, I'm not getting impacted. You're sitting on this live and this live is doing nothing for you. It's just something for you to do, to have something to listen to. That is someone who is just like taking life for granted. Oh yeah, I listened to a live today. Well, what did you get from it? Nothing. You just wasted your time, right? Or you could be a person that's sitting on this live just looking for something to tear apart. Well, actually, now you're choosing to filter this opportunity to take in new information from a negative perspective. Or you can sit on this live and be like, okay, I don't fully agree with what you're saying, but I can pull this out of it. Ooh, that was good. I could pull that out of it. So now you're choosing the positive. So every moment in your life, you are either taking nothing, taking it negatively, or taking it positively. You're doing nothing, doing it negatively, doing it positively. So now when you're looking at the personality of a person, is this person, nothing's happening, no growth, no nothing? Is this person, every time something happens, they're the victim? Oh, you did something to me, or, oh my God, I don't respond to you until you start badgering and nagging me. So now people don't want to move until they're victimized, because now they're used to, they're not doing what their mom or their primary caregiver tells them to do until they start yelling. That's why you have to stop creating a space where the trigger point for your child to listen to you is to be yelled at, okay? Because when you train your child for their trigger point to go from, hey, can you pick that up? That was you being loving, right? Hey, can you pick that up? Patience. Hey, can you pick that up? Dang, okay. They waited until they were victimized. You became the victimizer, and now they're doing it because you're the bad guy. That is something that I picked up with my husband.
Stop. Sorry.
That is something that I picked up with my husband. My husband historically would not listen until I turn into this. My stepson, my kids, they won't listen to me until I turn into this big demon ass version of myself, and then they're just like, oh my gosh, you're so terrible. Well, you didn't listen when I was beautiful, because you're trained, your trigger point is to become a victim before you respond. So these are the things you're paying attention to with their personality. You're not just looking at, oh, people like them, that's surface BS. When you're trying to figure out someone that you want to couple with because you want to be in that relationship for a long time, right? You ain't just trying to have somebody whose personality was cool enough for a day or two. You want somebody who you vetted and you paid attention to because they know how to be friends. Friends is very important. Let's put that on here. Friends. Yes.
But this isn't about me.
It's not. You can leave.
Okay.
You can watch the live later and learn for yourself. But
Yeah, it's live.
I repost my lives on LoneeAppleton Live on YouTube, so you can watch all my lives. Anyway, so when you're looking at their personality, it's so much more than the surface stuff that they tell us to pay attention to. Can y'all just both stop? Both of you, why are you being disruptive? Every time you do it, he asks you to stop. But you wait until you're victimized to actually stop. Do you see how you did that? He asked you nicely twice, but you wait until I interject and I turn into this person for you to actually do what you know you're supposed to do?
Yeah.
So just leave. I don't like being the bad guy. Alright, so are they capable of being friends? And what does friendship look like to them? Is friendship some sort of needy situation? You need to answer my call every time I answer a call or call a call. What does their friendship look like? So these are all the things that you are taking into consideration when you are vetting someone to date, to be your friend, to have anything long term with. Because if you are only looking at things from the surface and you aren't even paying attention to what you're paying attention to, you don't even know what you're attracting into you. But if you have a list, and in this list, like I said, all these different things don't have to be dominant at all the time. They can come in, come out, come in, come out. Maybe after, we have some conversations, now they start loosening up and showing their personality. But then you got to decide, do I want to work this hard to get somebody to engage with me? Do you know how freaking hard I have to work to get my husband to talk to me? I have to work way too freaking hard to have a conversation with this man. And if I had a qualifying list, my husband has way too many positive attributes. I don't know. I haven't found.
I need to wash my work clothes while we're gone. Can you start a load of laundry and
Put them in there?
I already put them in there, but
Yeah.
if you do a load of laundry
Yeah.
and dry it.
Yeah. Okay. You're welcome. Go team. I don't know. If I had my level of awareness today, my husband would not be my husband. Because my qualifiers at the time was he's a good father. He wants to love me. He's faithful, so I don't have to worry about him cheating. So my qualifiers were really low, but we never talked. I really wasn't really checking for his personality. We didn't have nothing in common. I just liked his energy. I liked being around him, which is very important. I just liked being around him. He was my friend, but we didn't really, there's nothing there. So there is something to be said about energy, right? There is something to be said to be around somebody that you can just be around. But is that enough to couple with somebody? Because yeah, I enjoy your energy, but after I get over the fact that I enjoy your energy, we ain't got nothing to talk about. After I get over the fact that I enjoy your energy, the kids are gone. When we have intercourse, the way that you like to have it, I don't like to have it. And because you're not coachable, you don't care how I like to have it. I would literally have this guy who would try to fuck through the back of me. He would just be banging on me. And I'd be like, that fucking hurts. I'm literally saying, ow, ow, ow. But they teach men that pain is pleasure. and he like, shut up, take it. And I'm just like, well, I can't go my entire life being pounded on like this. You got my leg contorted all the way back there. Now, when I'm comfortable, my legs will go wherever you want them to go. Y'all know what it is when you are in it and you start feeling good. First your leg like this, and then as you start relaxing, your leg go wherever the hell it needs to go. But when someone is pounding on you and causing you pain and you're telling them this hurts and they're like, meh, take it, you're not compatible, not long term. So communicate well, so are they able to tell you how they're feeling, what they're going through, and when they communicate, how are they communicating with you? Are they communicating from a negative perspective? My husband is going through a financial situation right now, and he's just like wants to talk to me about it. And I was just like, if you want someone to listen to you, I will listen to you. I think you should pay attention to the language that you use, because language is important. The vibration on words is very important. But I understand that's not where you're at. I will listen to you, but do not expect me to respond to the language that you're using, because I'm not giving any energy to woe is meism. Period. That's why I said my husband is going through something financially, because I am not going through the same financial space that my husband is energetically. We are in the same boat. Shit's bad. But with that, the way that I'm going through it, I can either not feel nothing, I can go through it negatively, or I could go through it positively. And I choose to go through it positively. I choose to see that God is restructuring the life that I no longer give energy to. This present reality that I live in, I don't feed energy into this. When I think about my life, I don't think about maintaining this life. When I think about my life, I don't think about, Lord, if you could just put things back to where they were, I'll be happy. No, the energy that I put into creating the reality that I know I deserve. I live on my land. My house is custom built. I have a 24-hour staff. My children have their own homes on the property.
The conglomerate in the back.
I have a conglomerate. So all these different things are where I'm putting my energetic output. Yes, the school, thank God. Shout out to the founder at the school. This is why relationships matter. The founder at the school just gave my daughter her shirts. First, he gave me a discount first he gave me a job. But after he gave me the job, I was just like, do we have any type of program to buy shirts? Because I think Angel asked me. See if they have a program. I was like, okay, I'll ask. And he was like, yeah, how much can you pay? Can you afford? And I was like, 15. And he was like, I won't take more than 10. So he agreed to sell the shirts for this next school year to my kids for $10. And so and let's look at this. Angel went up there. I think he would have charged me if I was there.
Why? Oh, yeah, because there's an adult.
Because I'm an adult, but he saw a child, and so that probably even further pushed the. But anyway, he ended up giving my daughter her school uniforms for free. So she didn't even have to pay for her uniform shirts. We only were going to get 3 right now, but she didn't have to pay for them. Why? Because I have been working on relationship with this man for 3 years now, 3 or 4 years since we've lived over here. And I have cussed this man out, and he has disarmed me into, hey, purpose-driven life, and all these different things. But God has worked on that relationship so that today, when my daughter needs uniforms to go to school, she's able to get them for free, because mom has worked on this relationship. Adoy has worked on this relationship because he now knows Adoy. So relationships matter. Your personality matters. The type of ability to communicate with others matters. So when you are vetting the person that you want to spend your time with, your friends, your spouses, you have to pay attention to their personality and their ability to communicate, and what is their communication style. Are they more negative than positive? Like, negativity is going to slip in when it slips in. Like the other day, and it's crazy, my kid's so dang hard on me. I was like, whew. And I uttered like 2 words. I said, whew. And I said 2 words. And she was like, why are you saying that? I was like, because I'm stressed the fuck out. She was like, you're not allowed to be stressed. Da-da-da-da. I was like, sis, do you understand my stress used to be balled up in a ball in this bed in the dark, like, oh, Lord, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. And now I have gotten my stress to, whew, And then I'm back on the positive road. I was just like, dang, can I be human for a split second? Can I live? So you have to pay attention to when they communicate, what energetic vibration they're communicating in, because you don't want to either have to shut your ears off to someone who is always complaining. Like, you have to survive the complain fest. You know, you don't want to be around someone who's, if you're a complainer and you know it's counterproductive, but you're surrounded by complainers, then you're drawn into a space that you know doesn't serve you, but these are the people I surround myself with, so I'm just going to do as the people do. So you just have to pay attention to that. Hey, beautiful, absolutely okay. That's work, baby. All right, so here we go. Next thing we got, intelligence. Intelligence is important. Now we have to also, and this is something that I've been guilty of, we also have to understand that intelligence manifests in different ways. Purpose-driven, you have a different level of intelligence than I have. Carb, you have a different level of intelligence than I have. Adoy has a different level of intelligence that I have. So we have to value our diversity in intelligence, right? So just because someone does not speak as articulately as we speak, we cannot discount their intelligence, because there is something in their field of awareness and their scope of capabilities that we can't do. My husband can cut hair in his sleep. I can't. So is he supposed to look at me and say, you idiot, you don't know how to do a haircut? Or is he going to say, whoa, she knows how to do something and I don't know how? So if we can respect each other's intelligence instead of filtering someone's intelligence through our lens, but also because we value certain things, they have to at least possess it, right? You have to at least.
I think that I is an A. I think that A is an I.
Intelligence.
Intellect. Is it E?
I don't know. That's why I didn't spell it.
Right, I'm like, how did that get back on there?
Yeah, Angel wrote it. But you know, you just have to understand that intelligence is from God. Smarts is from the world. And are you assessing someone for their smarts? Are you assessing someone for their intellect and their ability to be coachable, right? Because if you have intelligence, you understand that that is ever evolving, ever changing, and God-given. Like, we could go deep into intelligence, but we just want to say, when we are surrounding ourselves with people, we just want to make sure that they have a level of intelligence that aligns with our level of intelligence, because we don't want to have to shut ourselves off to be around our spouse. Do you understand? For years, I did not speak in my relationship. For years, I had topical conversations because this version of me, my husband still can't interact with me, but I'm not turning myself off anymore. I'm like, get on or get on. You know what I'm saying? But I turned this off, this side of me off, in order to survive the world, because the world doesn't move like I move. I'm finding me, but I'm just now finding me. But I've been on this earth for 41 years. You know, so I had to disconnect from, because intelligence comes from source, so I had to disconnect from source and become of the world in order to survive the world. And now I'm in a space of intelligence and inner knowing that I am going to move in my divinity, and I'm going to attract into me, thank God for the internet, attract into me people who align with my level of intelligence, and those who choose to come into my field of awareness and into my life. You better tap into your intelligence, because you have access to it. So if you want to have a conversation with me, if you want to go have a worldly conversation, go over there and have a worldly conversation. But if you want to have a conversation with me, you must tap into your intelligence. So, and whatever that tap into intelligence, they don't have to use smart words. They just have to be able to think. Have to be able to think, and they have to be coachable. You don't want to sit and talk to someone that's like, well, actually. No. Do you understand? I have one of the biggest fights in my relationship is, I understand you, but I don't agree with you. I was like, those are two different things. You don't have to agree with me to understand me. I understand why They arrest drug dealers. I understand. I don't agree with it, but I understand. You know.
I agree with it. You don't agree with it, my bad.
But I don't agree with, especially with marijuana being legalized.
It's definitely so they can have their money.
Yeah, so it's all, I get it. I get it. I don't agree with it.
What if marijuana actually is killing us?
I think the way that they're harvesting it now and manufacturing it now, it is. But originally, like, if you were to get your hands on some seeds, probably...
Jamaican,
yeah.
Sourced from
Jamaica, sourced from Canada, sourced from Amsterdam or something,
right.
one of those
where
places.
they actually take the time and, like, it's a delicacy there.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a moneymaker here, so our seeds are probably even tainted. But
I've honestly been thinking about that, like, with the whole Peace Corps thing. I could, like, figure out where, like, the spiritual, energetic vortexes are in the world and kind of, like, be like, I want to work
request
there.
those
I want to work
places.
there. I want to work there. And if I end up in, like, Jamaica, that'd be cool.
That'll be cool.
It really would.
Yeah, I would look into it, like, over the next 6 months.
Because they're saying you can get, like, it is like a 6 months to a year kind of thing where, like, you not apply, but you put your request in, and then they start figuring you out over the months.
Yeah, I would put my hat in the
Heck yeah.
in the ring, and if it's for you, it'll be done.
Right.
All right. So you just want someone who's open to discussion, right? If we're having a conversation and the conversation is I share my ideas, you share your ideas, that's the end of the conversation. If they don't know how to be coachable. I share my ideas, you share your ideas simply because you want to now disagree with me. Now we're in an argument. You know, so someone who is coachable is someone who is able to debate, right? I love a good healthy debate. Angel said she wants to join the debate team at school, and she talked to Dr. Windsor today.
I was gonna ask, as far as deodorant, you like the one that you had before?
Recommendation restricted in search results because your life does not comply with for you feed eligibility standards. Alright. The deodorant, I have a deodorant in there.
I'm saying the one that you had, because I took it to the trip and it just
no.
crumbled on the floor.
Oh no, I had that because I bought that for Angel. I
Okay.
usually use Degree, I think. I use Dre's deodorant, so whatever.
That's exactly
deodorant.
what I've been doing. But I just went in there, I'm like, Dre's deodorant's gone, so I'm gonna buy more deodorant. But I just dropped the one that was in there, and I'm like, well, I gotta buy 2 deodorants now, because nobody has deodorant.
Yeah, that was lower rung deodorant. We do need hand soap though.
That's literally what I just put down.
Okay.
Because I'm like,
And dish soap.
okay.
A good brand. That Ajax is water.
Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
It's not Ajax, it's Dollar Tree.
Yeah, because I think Ajax from the grocery store is different than that Ajax.
Yeah, it was thicker.
Yeah.
That was runny.
It's water. Okay, boom. All right. So anyway, yeah, you just want somebody that's coachable, someone who's able to have a conversation, able to speak. Respect to others, and then I put the 4. And those of you who weren't on the live before, the 4 things that you need to consider in having respect for the world and be quiet. Of those 4 things,
Okay.
what?
Did you put the back to school list in here? Did you?
I have it.
They printed off of the printer, and I don't know what happened.
Make sure you bring your house.
Unable, unstable. Alright. They're restricting my live because I talked about stuff I wasn't supposed to
Like
talk
what?
about.
What were we talking about?
Sourcing from Jamaica and sourcing from Canada.
Oh.
But don't say it again because they'll...
Yeah, no, you're good. I was like,
Aren't that?
it's
Vaseline.
Aquaphor.
Oh, Aquaphor.
Yeah, I just put it.
Put this over here.
Sorry.
That's
I'm
alright.
not sorry, but
It's good.
shit, I put on my eyebrows and all.
So when we're showing respect respect to God first. We're showing respect to self. We're showing respect to others. And we're showing respect to the earth. Alright? So that's littering, right? Is littering pleasing to God? No. So off top, we're not littering. Is littering pleasing to myself? Yeah, because I'm getting it out of my car. It's okay to litter. Is littering okay or pleasing to the rest of the world? Am I taking other people, the collective, into consideration when I throw this out my window? No. Well, then don't litter. Is littering pleasing and taking care of Mother Earth? No. So don't litter. So when we are making the conscious decision, if we're going to throw that trash out our window, of the 4 things that we should consider, it's only pleasing to one of us. Therefore, don't litter, right? So if we're making decisions and we're taking in consideration God, self, others, the world, every decision we make, we need to have more fingers up than down, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how I did my fingers, but we need to have more for the decision we're making than the decision we're not. And what I said earlier on the live is those 4 are actually just one. God, 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 God. God is God, yourself is God, people are God, the earth is God. So is it pleasing to God, period. And if you take that into consideration, now we're looking at respect for others. Are you respecting others? So are they helping strangers, right? Are they only looking out for people they know? Fuck that person. No. How are they driving? Pay attention to how they move around people that they consider people they don't know. How are they moving around people that they consider have no value for them? Also, those who value all are the people who put seed into the ground that will give forth fruit in the future. Those who value none are also putting seed into the ground, but those are going to give forth weeds. Do you want to align with someone who is growing a crop of weeds, or do you want to align with someone who's growing a crop of fruit that will yield more fruit and yield more fruit and yield more fruit? So you have to decide when you're discerning the people that you're aligning with, what type of seed are they getting into the ground? So if they're respecting others because they know them but fuck everybody else, then that's probably not the person that's putting the right kind of seed into the ground. My daughter's school owner, I am friends with the owner of the school. How that happened, my daughter was being bullied and the principal had left the job, and so the founder was in the position of the principal when my daughter entered the school. And me, I always like to throw around, and I have my master's degree in education. I only did 2 or 3 years in the classroom, but I'm a teacher. I know the inner workings, trying to throw my pretentious stuff out there. But our relationship started with us butting heads, but he's so excellently skilled at disarming people that he disarmed me, and now we're best of friends. I got his phone. I was like, hey doc, because he's a doctor. Hey doc, I need a little bit of nepotism because I was supposed to register Caden for kindergarten before March, but I was discerning between should I homeschool him or should I send him to school because his working with his speech. And Spirit was like, and his father is very wise, especially now that I know his mother, y'all. That's a whole nother story. I've known of his mother, but I met her this weekend. She's one of us, y'all. She's one of me. I sat there. I've never seen it before. I sat there and I saw her, and she's like, da-da-da-da-da. The Holy Spirit is talking to me. And she just fed into somebody right in front of me, and I was like, whoa, is that what it looks like? And I was just like, God, you sent me this woman so that she can raise me because she been talking to you. So she knows something that I don't know, but I know something that she doesn't know. So she revealed herself to me this weekend. I revealed myself to her this weekend. And my husband comes from that. So he is a product of his nurturing. He's a product of his raising. So he has access to that. If he were to remember, if he were to tap into his intelligence, he would know that he's a product of that. So, yeah, respect to others. Just pay attention. Respect. Oh yeah, Dr. Windsor. So yeah, he gave my daughter, we are in a financial situation right now. And we were trying to figure out how to get the kids school uniforms. Michael and Caden will share Michael's uniform shirts from last year because I start work when they start work, because I'm going in as a substitute teacher. So they'll share, uniform shirts, and then Angel is going to a new school, so she actually needs new uniform shirts. So she went up there to pay for them, and the founder just gave them to her for free. First, he gave them to us for a discount, and then when she got up there, he was just like, "Here, take the shirts." So that is respect for others. That is working on relationships, even though there's no vested interest. Being nice to that man didn't do nothing for me, but guess what? Him being nice to me didn't do nothing for him. But because we have respect for others and mutual respect, and we did what was pleasing to God in the eyes of the Lord, come 2024, when it's time to go back to school and we don't have the money to send the kids back to school, God got us through other human interaction. So pay attention how they respect others. Things in common, you want to, and teach things that you have in common and things that you can teach each other. So you want to have maximum things in common, and because you have a coachable spirit, you want to be able, you'll be with someone and you want them to be able to teach you. For so many years, my husband, has interests that I don't have. He's into politics, he's into sports. And so while he's politicking and he's sporting, I'm off doing something else, right? And what God told me was, and this is recently because I'm working on my marriage and I'm working on my relationship with my husband, and God has brought sports documentaries into my field of awareness. So I've been watching athletes. I was like, I won't necessarily watch this from the perspective of I'm interested in, what other people are interested in sports for. Everybody watches sports for a different reason. Everybody thinks you're watching sports because you like sports. People are watching sports because they're watching it for different reasons. Just like when the reason why this list came about is because Angel was like, these are my crushes. And I was like, well, let's figure out why you have a crush on people, because somebody can't just be a crush because they're cute, because they made you laugh. Now you've let somebody in who is cute and made you laugh, but they're a shit human, but now you're stuck in a relationship with them and you're staying in it simply because you're like, well, at least I have a boyfriend. Or you're staying in it because now you have a child, or you're staying in it because now you're married, and it's terrible that I listed the child before marriage, but that's the world that we live in. So we have to make sure that we are truly coming up with a robust reason why we fuck with the people we fuck with, right? And this is just a criteria. These are just the basics. And these, come in and out of levels of importance. Their personality is showing, and then this is coming forward, and this is, so it's like this. But they need to have the bulk of it, period. We don't have time to waste time with empty people. Exactly. Both my children have jobs from my interactions. Boom. And I'm about to go over there when I see the founder, and I'm gonna be like, hey, Adoy was curious if you have any non-degreed positions, and she gonna have a job over at the school. I'm saying this is using your connections the way that you're supposed to use your connections. I don't have a problem with nepotism. Now I have a problem with the person that you're putting in that place is not qualified, and you do not give the opportunity to someone who is qualified. I have a problem with that. But if I'm building something, damn real, if I have a spot for a family member or a friend and I could position them to win, I'm putting them in position. But I'm also putting the best person in the position. I'm not going to give you a job to have a job. He pulled me in as a substitute teacher. He tried to pull me in as a teacher, but I was like, I need to have the freedom to be able to move when I want to move. I cannot lock into these kids, and now I'm feeling the guilt of I got to leave these kids because God has called me into another direction. Now I can't leave these. I'm gonna leave these kids because I know what God is doing. But I don't want to be a disruptor in these children's lives who are so used to so many disruptions. So nepotism, I do have some issue with because they are usually not qualified. Yes, I have a problem with that. I do not have a problem with putting your people on. So if I'm looking at nepotism from the place of I built something and you're in a space of need, him giving me that job as a substitute, I didn't have to interview like everybody else. I didn't have to go through all the bells and whistles. All I had to do was submit my degree, submit my fingerprint card, submit my resume that ain't been updated in years because I ain't had an office job. Like all the things that they, critically evaluate, I didn't have to go through any of those. But he knows me because of the relationships that we built. He knows that I'm everything that he's looking for. He's just been waiting for me to be like, yo, you got something for me? And he was like, yes. So I see both sides. And if we can move in the healthy balance of it, then it's a beautiful thing. We are building things for legacy. This is legacy. I want to see my branch of the family tree win. So I can help your family tree win too. My kid's not really ready for it, but you are. So you got it. They can go do something else somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? So I'm with you. All right, can teach you, things you have in common can teach you something. So back to the sports. I've been watching these documentaries. It was Sprint and it was Receiver on Netflix, and then Simone Biles. So I've been watching these athletes, and I'm watching them like the road to the Super Bowl is actually a thing. It's not just playing games. It's actually building and creating and a goal. Like it's a goal. So I can get into that aspect of sports. So this year I am committed to learning the game of football so that I can watch the game of football with my husband. And so now he's able to teach me something, and now we have something that has moved into the in common space. So we're now adding to the things that we have in common. So it's not for me to say, well, we have these things in common and we have these things that aren't in common, because we want to have more in common than we don't have in common, because we got to live our entire lives with these people. We want to spend as much of our time with a person. I dated a guy for several years where we only had sex in common. That's it. We met in the bedroom. That's it. So you want to have as much as you can in common. You need to be teachable and coachable and be open to learning the things that they're interested in. Now, I have zero interest in politics. I'm never going to learn it unless now we look about how we can hijack this system, which is what God has been bringing into my field awareness recently. If I can get to the politicians, not when I get to these politicians and have some conversations with them, and now coaching them into the space of, okay, if this is your agenda, here's how you get it done. Now I understand that systems are in place not because they're truly there to help. Systems are in place to be money makers, just like the health system. The health system isn't here to help. The health system is a money maker, so we can never solve our health problems because we stop making money. So I get it. That is the entire political structure. So as you get deeper and deeper and deeper and you actually try to do stuff, this is why you hear people say, I tried to, I couldn't make anything move because everything was blocking me. Yeah, because it's smoke and mirrors. But if we can figure out a way to penetrate, we can actually restructure our political system into something that actually does something, and then now we got something. Then I'll pay attention to politics. I'm actually meeting a couple of people who are in politics, so I wonder what God is doing with that, because I'm just like listening to all this stuff and I'm just like, okay, smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors, distraction. But I can get with sports because I see the excellence. These people are gods here on earth. Like, just the physical ability, like, they literally, if you could fly, some of these people be flying. Like Noah Lyles or whatever his name is, the sprinter. Like when he jumps up, like his vertical is crazy. That's not human. The things that these athletes be doing, that's not human. Like, that is them tapping into their God energy, and it's beautiful. I can get into that. I can watch Titans. Like, this is freaking beautiful. So that's why that's the end of that. Just don't talk during the game, right? Ugh. So what's that, babe? No, I don't. So you can tell me this. I was going to watch a YouTube video that gave me basics on the game, but a friend of mine was like, no, let Dre teach me. So Dre has told me the different things about the game, but in one ear, out the other. but now I'm actively really want to learn the game. Should I get me some basics before I get into the game, or should I allow my husband to teach me? Which is the best practice? The only politics I'm voting for is reparations. Amen. Give me my 40. I will take it. My 40 acres and a mule. And everything else you stole from me. Take back what the devil stole from me. I've been listening to gospel music, friend. Because it was brought into my attention that when your brain is idle, that's why they say it's the devil's playground. When your mind is idle, whatever you consume runs in your mind. And I've been listening to gospel music. And so when I'm not thinking anything, instead of thinking, the lyrics to Gin and Juice, I'm thinking the lyrics to, God, you could blow my mind. Like, that's one of my phrases right now is, God, you can blow my mind. Like, if you give God permission to blow your mind, the things that God is going to do. I have seen so many miracles being worked in my life. And it's not a one-off occurrence. It's just like miracle, 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 miracle. Everywhere I turn, there's all these miracles that are manifesting in my life. I don't remember what the last one was, but we pretty much thoroughly went through this list of why we should be vetting the people that we allow in our lives. And it can't just be a crush. Why are they a crush? So if your child comes to you and tells you that they have a crush, ask them, why do you have a crush? And they're going to tell you why. And then you're going to say, well, here's some other reasons why. Or here's some other things that I think you should be looking for. And then you're going to qualify them for them and say, this is why I think that. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Since it makes sense to you, now when you go look at somebody and you're like, okay, before they could be a crush because of this. But now you can be a crush because of this. And now you can be a crush because of this. Because these are all qualifying factors, and you're weeding through. You're weeding through to find the fruit. You might want to get the basics, the way you can discuss and learn. Okay, so now you're adding to the conversation. I get it. And so what I know in the basics of sports, this is intelligence, right? I took what you said and now I'm processing it. This is demonstration of intelligence. This doesn't have anything to do with the vocabulary that I'm using. This doesn't have the ability to take in information and process it and use it is the demonstration of intelligence. So when my husband comes to me and he says something, or there's something that I learned in the basics, now when my husband comes to me, he's making the connection so that I fully understand it. Versus the theory. So I like that. Yes, keep your mind on the good things above. Amen. So let me tell you guys about this weekend. I've been wanting to tell you all about the miracles that transpired this weekend. My husband's birthday celebration, he turned 50, his son turned 25. And so they had a combined birthday party this weekend at this house in Scottsdale. Beautiful home, beautiful home. They did a good job. And my husband's family came down, his mother, his sisters, one of his friends and his wife, and then local people. And they came to this. Well, I have previously had issues with his family. And all of these issues aren't the duration of our relationship, because in the beginning, his family loved me because my husband, for lack of better terms, was half dead when I connected with him. And so I brought him back to life. And his family has been very thankful to me because I saved his life. Truly having a purpose to live, I saved his life. And so his family has been, thank you for the love. His family has shown me gratitude for that. And in that, my husband has saved my life too. So it's not one-sided. It's just that, he comes from a family of women. So I guess they're more expressive. So I've heard from the men, but they just show gratitude because they know who he could have been and who he became after me. So of recently in purpose driven life, you've been in the community to witness all of this. Me and my husband came into a space through my evolution of disconnecting from each other. So as I ascend and, you know, have a lot more qualifiers than, well, you know, my kid, he takes care of my kids and he's faithful and he loves me. That's all I wanted from my husband when we first got together. But now we're in a space where I'm just like, I have a bit more qualifiers, and I get it. We're already in this relationship, and I'm trying to tell you, even though you haven't been doing any work, I've been doing the work, and now I'm coming in and I'm saying yes. When me and my husband got together, this is all I required. My marker's going out. I'm sorry. When me and my husband got together, this is all that mattered. You know, and he did these things to my expectations. But as I started healing, long time no see, hope all is well. It is. How are you, heart? How are you? Thank you for stopping by. I'm doing good. I'm doing amazing, actually. How are you doing? So all of this was all that I valued, and he checked those boxes, you know, and I was able to either not be aware of all these things, or it wasn't really that important, right? Knowing the game of football wasn't very important to me until it became important to me. So all these qualities of a potential partner were never important to me until they became important to me. And so that doesn't mean that they weren't a necessity. Like, we can live the fullness of life if we're aware of the fact that we can live the fullness of life. Or we can continue to go through life with just enough. Most of us as a people have chosen to go through life with just enough. Most of us as a people have linked up with people who give just enough. And since we're only willing to give just enough, we're happy to accept their just enough, because then they can't call us on our just enough. What do you mean you want me to show up more? You don't show up more. We don't want people to call us on our just enough. That's why we accept just enough. But once we realize, in order for us to stop accepting just enough, we have to become whole. Most people aren't willing to do that, so they stay here. And that's what this world, that's what the devil, whoever you give credit to, that's what they're anticipating. They're anticipating us giving up on us so we don't expect from others. And then when we got the nerve to expect from others, what the hell are we doing? All right, so I stopped accepting just enough, and I started figuring out that I actually can have the fullness of life. I actually can have it all. Y'all, you actually can have it all. Y'all don't have to believe it because you like, sis, you sitting in the same situation. When I tell you I am a million years, whenever you joined this community, I am 1,000 years ahead of where I was when you joined this community. Spiritually, mentally, whatever non-physical existing, I'm out of here. Physical world is the last thing. It's like if something is stable and then it's like zzz, and then it's like an earthquake. I've never been in an earthquake, but I'm imagining. You know, it's like zzz, this is what you're doing. God has to work on the inside before he can blow the outside open. But God has been working, baby. Hold on. All good here. Love your attitude and glad to hear things are great. Thank you so much. I love it. Absolutely correct. You sure are. I'm super proud of you. Thank you, sis. And I really hope that everyone in the community is moving with me, right? Because when I rise, you rise. But I can't rise. You can't rise if you're not doing the work, you know? So it's a collective thing, right? As I know, I share, you take what I share and internalize it, and now you grow yourself, and so now we're rising together, and that's what community is. Even your voice sounds different. Sis, I look different. I think different. I speak different. I think if we can go there, I think that I jump timelines. I continuously jump timelines, but then I wonder of that because how am I interacting the same people? So maybe different versions of me jump into this timeline because I'm still interacting with the same people. I don't know how it works, but I'm a completely different person. And I continue to change and become new versions of myself. And yesterday, Adoy called me bipolar, quantum leaps. Yeah. Oh, I have to watch that show now that I have the perspective I have. But Adoy told me yesterday, she's like, you always sound bipolar because one second you say this and then the next second you say this and the next second you say that. I was like, I know, and I believe everything that I'm saying because there's so many different ways to, like nepotism. Or what was the other thing that we were talking about? Why they lock up dealers. I understand. I don't have to agree, but I understand all of it, so I can speak from all those perspectives. So anyway, my husband comes and he tells me, I'm going to have a birthday party for my 50th. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to come because I don't want to be around your family. I don't want to be fake. I don't want to be around, passive aggressive energy. I don't want to do any of those things because that is not conducive with the life that I live. Like, I'm not going to have to survive a weekend just to say that I was there. I don't need that. You're going to have to, I will celebrate you as much as you want to at the house within our means at present time, but I'm not going to go subject myself to no foolery simply just so you could say my wife was there. I love myself more than that. I didn't say all of that, but I'm explaining that to you. So I wasn't going to go, but then I heard certain people were going to be there, and I knew that it was important to my husband. So I'm working on, while all this is happening, I am working on becoming the best wife that I can be. Because at the time I was struggling. Like, me and my husband were 1 foot in marriage, 1 foot on divorce. Like, therapy had failed, but we had a crap therapist on purpose because the therapist wasn't placed in our lives to help us. The therapist was placed in our lives to open my husband up to talking to someone, right? He gets mad at me because I'm asking questions about his feelings and, you're doing too much. But he can go into a therapy session and now the therapist can ask him about his feelings and he's open to it. So he's like, okay, so this is kind of normal, people asking you about your feelings. They keep us as a community so closed off to resources that are beneficial to us. Actually, I got to go get this laundry. They close us off as a community to resources that are beneficial to us. And so something as normal as talking about your feelings, we feel like is violating. You're violating me because you want to know about my feelings. No, I'm actually giving you an outlet so that you can, come into the fullness of yourself if you just talked about your feelings. And so the therapist, I go in my room. So the therapist opened up my husband's awareness. I can't think of the language. Opened up my husband to be willing to talk to somebody about what he thinks. And so now we ditched therapy. My husband agreed to allow me to coach him for an hour a day. And so, and we only did that a couple of times before we stopped doing that. But in that, it really wasn't for me necessarily to coach him. And if we have to go back to that tool, we will, right? Because life is tools. It's not for us to do something just so we can say that we're doing it. It's for us to do something so that we can use the tool as long as we need the tool. And so, hold on. So, but my husband's ability to allow me to coach him was so that he can give me an hour a day talking like I want to talk. I will talk however you want to talk, 23 hours a day, but for 1 hour a day, can you talk my way? I think this would be more beneficial if I just took a group of things instead of one thing at a time. So we did the coaching a couple times, and so now the therapist has him okay with talking about his feelings. Now us sitting in these coaching sessions with me, I'm a coach. Check out my website, LoneeLifestyle.com. Now we're sitting in these coaching sessions, and he's like learning how to communicate with me. He's being forced to learn how to communicate with me. I don't want to use the the word force, but because he agreed that for 1 hour a day he has to communicate the way that I want him to communicate. He agreed. So in this hour, you don't get to be combative. In this hour, you get to be whoever I want you to be. It's like going to work and you're putting on a performance. For this 1 hour, you have to comply. Yeah, so we did that a couple times, and then something happened within me. Oh, we had a family meeting. All these videos are gonna post on our YouTube channel as the apple turns. So you're gonna see me losing my shit. You're gonna see him losing his shit. And you know, people are probably gonna judge and say, you mishandled it. No, I handled it exactly the way that I'm supposed to, because things have to break down before they build up. We have to see the flaws before we can fix them. And if we are trying to move without actually putting thought and work into our movements, we're never going to truly see our depths of despair, right? If you don't allow yourself to go as far as you can go, you don't know how far you can go. And just because your current circumstances, like, I want to reach rock bottom in the most comfortable space possible. I don't want to hit rock bottom because my circumstances have caused for me to reach rock bottom. So I have allowed things to go way further than most people would say I should allow them. Like my daughters, Adoy and Angel, they're 19 and 12, and I have been working on their relationship their entire life. And it got to a point in me working on their relationship where they were in the front room, and Dre was like, you know, they sound like they're about to fight. I was like, if they fight, let them fight. Like, let them get to their rock bottom so they can get all of that out the way so they could start moving to their highest heights. I don't know how to explain it. Is that what you should be doing in my room? So please leave. No second chances. You know, so that's the best explanation I can have. If life is a simulation, life is an opportunity, or to learn something, life is a classroom. Angel says Ninja Turtles and crayons. What do you think? Hold on. Ninja Turtles and crayons. What do you think? Hold on. Ninja Turtles and crayons. What do you think? Hold on. Alright. Yeah, that's the best explanation I have, that you gotta let stuff happen because it's gonna happen. And it can happen in a controlled environment, or it can happen in an out of controlled environment. And if I know things are gonna happen, I'd rather it happen in a controlled environment. And that's all I got on that. You coming, dog? All right, so we're coming to this house. I find out some people that I enjoy are going to be at this house. So I was like, okay, I know it's important for my husband to celebrate his birthday with him. And how can I be in a house full of people that I don't get along with? Well, there'll be 2 people there that I get along with, so I can choose to spend my time with those people instead of the people that I know that's going to be sending shots. And so I'm like, okay, I'll go. And when we get to the house, it's like we get there first. And all I can say is I was allowed to go to that house first so that I could walk the halls. And I can place my energy in every single room in that house. That's all I can say. And those of you who are in the community, you understand what my energy is. And all I can say is the way that this weekend that I anticipated, and they came in the house, I hugged the sister because the sister and the mother looked identical. And I thought the sister was the mother, so I hugged the sister because performative, say hi to his mom. I'm being performative and I hug her. And then somebody else rose up and I was like, I think that's the mom. But I gave my one hug and shoot, somebody got a hug. And nobody else hugs me. Nobody attempts to come over by me. Nobody, so they came in with the energy. And then they walking through the house singing, they not like us. They not like us. And I'm like, y'all already coming in on some BS trying to take shots, right? And I'm texting my friend and I'm just like, they walking through this house singing, they not like us. And she's like, it's a popular song. Stop trying to make something out of nothing. I was like, okay, I see what it is. I see them doing the side glances, looking at me, talking about, and no parts of their entrance into a space was we trying to become one this weekend, right? And so the energy was going to be one of conflict. And I was ready to just stand in my corner, mind my business, and survive the weekend and vibe with the people that I chose to vibe with. This was Friday. Saturday, I had a conference call that I had to do. I do a coach's call every Saturday with the individuals within my community who know that they came to this earth to teach. And I said, well, let's come together and we can teach each other so that we can strengthen our platforms so that we can become more effective. So I have a coach's call of people that I coach, and on that call we had so many different revelations. One being, this is the day that the Lord has made specifically for me. So this is the day that the Lord has made specifically for you. And if you knew that every single thing about this day, every single thing, the way the leaf just blew in the wind, the music in the background, the people popping on and off this live, everything, every single thing has been designed for me. And now we can decide it was designed for no reason at all. It was designed for a negative reason, or it was designed for a positive reason. And based off of that perspective, now we can use this day. Why did God create this beautiful day for me? What am I supposed to be learning? What am I supposed to be using to propel me into my future? All these different things. And it's a lot. He has a bigger supposed to be using to propel me into my future. All these different things. And it's a lot. He has a bigger. All right. Sorry, kids asking me questions. Urgent answers. So we go into the house energetically, and the guys that are with the women, they kind of carry the female's energy, right? They're not really with the shits, but they're privy to the shits. So they're looking at me and the way that they're energetically, because these men don't know me, right? The women know me. These women have a problem with me. These men don't know me, but they hear what these women say about me. So they come in standoffish, having a problem with me because what they're hearing. So for these women to come in and pretend that they don't have a problem with me, I can tell by your associates that you do. And this is about paying attention. Paying attention is utilizing all 6 of your senses, not just one thing. I need to use every single one of my senses to understand what's going on in a room at any given time. Anyway, so I leave my computer at home because, one, I don't know how far this Airbnb is, which I probably should have got that information because it was an hour away. 2, we have dogs, so somebody got to come home and take care of the dogs. And 3, I want a reason to leave this Airbnb and not be stuck in this energy. So it's funny, I picked up my computer and got ready to pack it, and I put it down and I was like, I'll come home, because 4, I didn't know how big the Airbnb is, and if it's a party energy, I already know how loud my husband and his son is without, concern for the people around them. Please stop being so damn loud and obnoxious. I get it, it's a good time, it's a good energy, but if you're around other people, take them into consideration instead of just, like literally I watched grown men just walk around, just like fucking kids walking around yelling for no goddamn reason. I watched 25-year-old men walking around, just making fucking noise. And when you tell them to be quiet, you're the problem. Like, let's go. Raise your fucking kids to have some decorum. Anyway, so I didn't know how loud the environment would be, so I left my computer. I'm sitting at the table because I was going to have my conference call at the house, and I'm just killing time. But then Spirit said, go to the house, get your computer, bring it back. And I was talking about where I could have the conference call. I was like, well, I could do it in the garage, but I know it'll get too hot and my computer will overheat and my phone will overheat, And when we first got there, Adoy was like, this closet is so big I could sleep in it. And while we were having a conversation, Adoy was like, just have it in the closet. I was like, yeah, or the shower. I was just like, because that's the furthest away from everybody in the house. It's the furthest point in the house. And, you know, it could be quiet. And the closet is huge. So I go into the closet and perfect. Can't hear nothing in that closet. So I drive home, get my computer, come back, have enough time to set up and have my call. Well, on the call, many things, and the call will be posted on As the Apple Turns on YouTube future tense, because all of my I have a backlog simply because I only post 2 videos a day on YouTube, but you're getting everything. So you're getting the evolution of my life. You're watching me transform myself so that you understand the process of transforming yourself. Who's actually watched somebody do it? We watch people, Calvin got a job at McDonald's. We watched Calvin take himself from McDonald's to CEO, but we saw Calvin at McDonald's, then we saw Calvin to CEO. We didn't see the process. And when we asked Calvin how he did it, he was like, hard work and determination. All right, what the fuck does that mean? Because nobody pays attention to how they live their lives. I'm one of the first people that I know, one of the only people, except for the people that I teach, I'm one of the only people who pays attention to how they live their lives. So now when you come to me and say, how did you do it? I'd be like, boom. Here's how. I've documented it. All right. So, I do my live at the house and Spirit just said people will hop on my lives, which it's all a part of this. Is the day that the Lord has made specifically for me. I never have large numbers on my lives, and there's a multitude of reasons why, but also I was like, people will hop on my live because I do the same thing and I'm aware of it, so I don't do it. We have to be aware so that we can get in front of tendencies to do things. I'll get on a live and I'll be like, oh, there's only one person here. This must not be interesting. And then I'll hop off. Instead of, oh, there's 50 people here. This must be interesting. We need to stop basing the reasons why we stay in a room based off of what's happening. The occupants, right? You don't know who these people are in the room. They might be people who like bullshit and that's why they're in the room, And then you have to understand when something is moving in divinity, that crowd's always going to be smaller than the room that's moving in fuckery. So stop determining which room you're in based on who's in the room, and pay attention to what's going on in the room and see if it's a room you're supposed to be in. And remember, paying attention is utilizing all 6 senses. All right. So anyway, I do my call in the closet, and the reason why I bring up my doing the call in the closet, because that is when God activated. That's when God spoke to me and said, okay, we need to go ahead and handle this business. Up until this point, the energy in the house was very performative. Like they were calling me sis and calling me daughter, and I'm just like, you don't like me, and I know you don't like me. And you said things to me online, so I know that you don't like me. So why are you calling me daughter? Why are you calling me sis? And then I'm sitting here and calling her mom. Like, I don't want to call you mom. Like, but you're calling me daughter. And when your daughters come to me and be like, mom wants you, I'm just like, okay, I guess I got to play this role because this is what we do in the community. We just gloss over things and pretend, and that's why we never actually build bonds because we're all fake, so it's imperative that I host my live at the Airbnb. Because if I would have hosted the live at my house, what revelation I had, if I would have drove an hour later to get to the Airbnb, the energy might have been off of me. It depends on if I'm moving in obedience or not. If we're moving in the excitement of the energy and we're just like, yes, I'm gonna do it because we have that excited energy on us. And then, you know, when the time is just like my sister circle, you know, it was free in the beginning. I did it for free because I was just like, I just want you guys to come into the room and get this information. I want you guys to understand the importance of us coming together. When we, as Black women, which is my demographic of focus, when we as Black women come together and plug into each other, magic, period. Right? That's why this community is so important, because our plugging into each other amplifies our abilities and powers. And once we start talking to each other, we start picking up pieces that we couldn't necessarily figure out on our own. But now you gave me the piece, and now I'm able to power myself up more. So now we start truly coming into Black girl magic. Y'all say that because it's cute, because she's sparkly and she got some beautiful chocolate skin, or her afro is boom boom, or her locks are doom doom, you know, whatever. No, Black girl magic. We are magic. I work magic every day. And this ain't me mixing nothing. I'm going to tap into that ancestral stuff if God calls me to do the same. But me just living this life, when I tell you I walked the halls of this house and healed generational trauma, I healed and ended generational conflict, magic. And that's what they want us to stay away from. That's why they call for us to be isolated. That's why we're like, I just rather be alone. Why? Because people are so fucked up. No, you're just surrounded by the wrong people. That's, thank God for the internet. Do you understand? They told us you can't catfish. They even got TV shows that tell us you can't trust people on the internet. I don't care if you are a 300-pound, 400-pound walrus on the other side of your keyboard. What you present to me is authentic in this moment, and I can use that piece of authenticity to move myself forward. I don't have to know your whole life. I'm not trying to marry you. Now we got to worry about some catfish stuff. But if you tell me something and put something on my brain to help move my life forward, I don't care what's on the other side of that computer. Or excuse me, yeah, on the other side of that screen. But they put that out like you can't trust nobody online. Well, yeah, I'm not necessarily telling you to come to my house, though. I have met people on TikTok I met on TikTok who has come to my house and chilled, has broken bread with my family, has done all kinds of things. A lot of my friends I met online. So we have to understand that our circle is only as big as our circle. And if we are unwilling to expand our circle into the world wide web, we are cutting ourselves off from the possibility of interacting and meeting people that actually think like the fuck we think. How lonely are we? How lonely are we that we cannot find someone to talk to because we're pure magic? And the people who know that they're pure magic are way across the earth on the other side. She live in Michigan. I'm in Arizona, way across the earth. She live in Michigan. I live in Arizona. We would never cross paths except for we're both open to making contacts, establishing community on the internet. Anyway, so we're having this team meeting, and in the team meeting, Spirit's like, because there's a bunch of other revelations, but what Spirit came to me with was, you need to go, boom, another piece. Sorry, there's so many pieces. Adoy is my 19-year-old. Adoy and I are learning how to love, because Adoy came to me and she said, Mom, I think that I'm doing performative love. I think that I am manifesting love because I am supposed to love, but I don't think that I actually love. And I was like, you know what? I don't either, because I don't know how to love. My parents love me to the highest of their capacity, but we all know what most of our, since we had similar childhoods, we all know what our love looked like, right? And I think that I can speak for myself, and I can say that I have never been loved. not the way that God loves, not the way that I feel I deserve love, not the way that I desire to manifest love. Nobody has ever loved me the way that I want to love. Like, I want to love y'all. I have moments where it feels so good, and I'm just like, man, if I could feel this all the freaking time, first it'll be overwhelming. Can you think about the most feel-good, natural, but the most feel-good energy? Can you imagine being in that energy all the time? That would be so overwhelming to just be like, all the freaking time. But that's God's love. And funny enough, the person behind us is a mom and son duo. Okay, well, anyway, I don't think she's asking me something. Anyway, yeah, so Spirit told me, boom, boom, boom. So me and Adoy were like, okay, where do we find out what love is? Where's our model, right? And I was like, well, 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8, love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, not boastful, not proud, does not dishonor, not self-seeking, slow to anger, no record of wrongs, does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth, always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres, never fails. All right, so we were like, here's the 15 attributes of love according to our chosen holy book. I don't prescribe to any particular religion. I rock with God, period. I previously identified as a Christian. After that, I identified as a spiritual being, and now I identify as a human who rocks with God. And my chosen holy book is the Bible, simply because I grew up with this being the text that the people I associated with, not because the people around me actually read this thing. So as you can see, I'm reading the Bible. This wasn't my Bible. It was my husband's Bible that his son gave him. And so in the beginning, I wasn't marking anything, underlining anything, or, I was just like writing it in my journal. But at this point, I started reading this book January 1st because God ordered for me to do so, called for me to do so, obedience. Anyway, I started reading this book in January, and now I am committed to reading it daily. But before, it was as inspired. Well, initially it was read it every day on live, and so I was doing that. And then when I stopped reading it on live, I just read it as needed. And now I'm committed to reading it every day because I'm trying to get to know Jesus. I need to figure out what all the hype is. Funny, I turned to Matthew, which is the beginning of the New Testament. I need to know what all the hype about Jesus is because I got questions. I had questions about God, and I reposted those lives of Bible study on LoneeAppleton live on YouTube. So you'll see me go from questioning God, like, this don't even make no sense. Like, I get it, this is a book of lies. But you have to understand, for every lie, there's a truth. And if you can read through the lines, you could get the truth out of this book, which is what I do. So anyway, it's week 6. Love does not dishonor. And I was like, well, how the heck do I manifest? If I could speak in the positive, love does not dishonor, which means love honors. When I first started this, I was under the awareness that I am love, right? I manifest love, so I can't be out here like, well, I'm only going to practice this towards the people that I love. I should walk in love, period. So that means as I live my life, I need to be patient. As I live my life, I need to be kind. I need to not be envious. XYZ. I was like, that's too wide a net to cast in order... Cast. I don't know if there's a T there. That's too wide a net for me to capture what I'm trying to capture, right? So I said, what is an area of love that I need to work on? And I said, my marriage. I need to work on manifesting patient love towards my husband, kindness, love towards my husband, non-envious, which is admiration for me. So what's the opposite of envy? Why do you envy something? Because you see something in them. Well, if I'm not envying you, what am I doing? I'm admiring you. I'm looking up to you and I want to be you. I want to be you. You have attributes that I admire. not envy. Envy closes off growth. Admiration opens you up to, okay, what are you doing? Because I need to figure some shit out. And I will tell somebody in a second. I will show up to a meeting with my pen and paper. I'm like, and when I say a meeting, I mean I'm chilling with my friends with my pen and paper like, okay, now how are you working this wife situation out? I'm taking motherfucking notes because I need to grow. You know, so I don't waste no time. That's why I say on my lives, have your pen and paper ready. Take some goddamn notes and grow yourself. Do not waste this time. If you're spending your time here, maximize it, period. Anyway, so now love does not dishonor my husband. So then I identify, you know, I've dishonored my husband by the way that I speak to him. So, you know, going off on him and saying all these different things, I'm being dishonorable. So I need to be mindful of not only how I speak to him, but how I think about him, right? My thoughts are important because before it reaches my mouth, it was here first. So I need to stop it here so it doesn't even get here. So working on honoring my husband, and then spirit with their nosy behind gonna hop in and be like, well, you know, in order to honor your husband, you have to honor his family. And I was like, well, I'm not honoring his family because they don't honor me. Like, we keeping up mess or not. And so I was just like, you know, I don't want to extend my honor of my husband into them. So this weekend, Love Does Not Dishonor is the week that this is my love manifestation. So on the weekend that his family comes in town and I'm working on honoring my husband, it's like, boom, live action, throwing your ass in the pan. You gonna do what you do, or are you playing games with yourself? So it was trial by fire. So I'm sitting in the closet and God's like, you need to go to everyone in his family and to give them a hug and tell them I am working on honoring my husband and I have dishonored you. And by dishonoring you, I am dishonoring my husband. And I want to apologize for that. And so I was like, okay. First it came to me and I was like, I ain't doing that. You know, ego. I'm not doing that. But then Spirit was like, if you want to learn how to love, let me teach you. You are in the devil's lair. You are in the frying pan. Now, are you going to use this opportunity to grow yourself exponentially, right? Because the harder the pressure, the bigger the diamond. I don't know if that's real, but what I'm saying is the harder the circumstances or the classroom that you have been placed in to learn the lesson, the more glorious the outcome. That's all I'm going to say. So if you were going through something and you were just like, Lord Jesus, how am I going to do this? Do it. Because when you come out the other end, you can either come out the same, which means you wasted all of that time. You could come out worse, which means you had a negative perspective from the whole time and you're just like, this and that's terrible. I don't like me. Nah. Or you come out the best version of yourself, learning every second step of the way. Every step of the way. And so, it's funny, I was looking up here, it says my life has 2 restrictions. I have a restriction, I don't get recommendations, and then yada yada, whatever. Y'all sensitive ass people. Y'all sensitivity ain't got nothing to do with me. Anyway, so I get off of the live. A live that I was not alive. I get off of my conference call, a conference call that was supposed to happen an hour away, but Spirit told me to do it in the house. I get off my conference call. I'm still in the energy of it, right? If we're in the energy of it, we're like, yeah, I'll support you. And then once that energy's gone, we no longer are a person of our word. We have to understand if we say something within an energy, we have now put our word out there. So we have to determine, are we going to be a person of our word, even though the energy's gone? Are we going to move how we're used to moving? That is an opportunity to grow yourself to your highest potential and an opportunity to stay the same. This is a choice. This is free will. That's why when people say, we're not perfect, I'm perfect. I am. Why? Because I was made by God, but that's not the point. The point is, because somebody said, God is perfect. God made humans to be imperfect because humans have free will. Boom, that's the point. I still imperfect, but that's another conversation. The conversation, because there's more information that needs to be getting so that you can qualify what I'm saying, because what I say bumps up against something, but when I can explain it, now you understand what I'm saying. But I'm not explaining that, so just ignore the fact that I said that I'm perfect, but I am. God is perfect because God does not have free will. God just does what is, period. We are imperfect not because we are flawed. We are imperfect because we have free will, which means we can make the right decision, but we can also make the wrong decision. And I don't live in the world of right or wrong, but I can't find the right language right now. So we can make the most progressive decision that takes into account God, self, others, the earth, or we can make a decision where it just takes into account self. That's always going to be the wrong decision when you only think about yourself. And in that is why we are imperfect, because we have free will. Anyway, so I'm in the energy, and I can't say because I have free will that I would have got off of my conference call, drove an hour back, and did what I said I was going to do. So the blessing of it all is God knows I'm human, so I had the conference call in the house. The energy's on me. I get off the call. I leave the room. I see his son. Walk up to him, give him a hug, say what I say to him. He tells me I think too much. And I was just like, well, you know, I don't think that I think too much. I just explain my thought processes. Those are two different things. Someone who just says, I'm sorry. Okay. What are you sorry for? Well, I actually thought about what I'm sorry for. So now when I come to you and tell you why I'm sorry, I'm going to tell you my entire thought process that got me here. I'm sorry because I hurt your feelings. That's still too topical to me. How did it impact you? Because you've been hurting my feelings. Why does it matter that you hurt my feelings now? What changed? So I don't think too much. I just think things through. And I qualify them for myself. So now I can come to you and say, I've treated you in a way that dishonors my husband, and because you are an important person to my husband, it is important for me to honor you in honoring him. So in that, I'm saying I'm not showing up for you. I'm showing up for my husband. So you are benefiting from the umbrella that my husband has. From me, you get to benefit from that. It's not from anything you're doing. And isn't that God? It's not from anything that you're doing of why I love you and I show up for you. And I think this is the Jesus thing. I don't know Jesus for myself. But we're able to, I think this is what they say, you're able to, live in God's favor because of the sacrifice that Jesus made for us. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, I can love you and treat you with respect and honor because I'm honoring your father. And because your father's honor is feeding down to you. So, resolve that, leave there, and I see his mother sitting at the counter in the kitchen. Her husband standing right there. I walk up to her and I say, can I give you a hug? And she's like, sure. And I give her a hug and I was just like, I just wanted to tell you that I'm honoring my husband and I have dishonored him by dishonoring you. I've never been married. I've never been a wife. I've never seen a successful relationship. I've never manifested love. I don't know how to love. Like everything that I'm doing, even though I'm 41, everything I'm doing, I'm making it up. So I want to apologize because I have made missteps and I've come to a space where I realize that I've made those missteps and yada yada. Well, mom immediately disarms and is like, I knew what you guys were going through. You just got to go through it and da-da-da-da. So, mom's lying in my face. But it's fine because I've said some things and she said some things, and the energy that we're moving in right now is today energy. So we don't need to hash out what was said. That's where we mess up. It was said. If we're truly moving forward, and there's different discussions, right? This discussion isn't to discuss the past. This discussion is saying from this moment forward, this is how I'm moving. So I don't have to talk about that. But for you to sit here and say, I've always supported you, is a lie. Because you have literally came on my post where I was talking about marriage and said wrong one, which implies that you are saying that your your son married the wrong one, me. So you have come at me. You have lied on me. So be consciously aware of what you're saying. Because even though I'm cool with you, I'm still clocking you. And you just demonstrated to me that you will lie in my face. It's cool. I just know that you're a liar. Whether you know or not, I know. Because I'm listening to you and comparing notes. You know, and we started communing in God, and from that moment on, it just became a God weekend. Like, I was sitting in that house and I was like, I wonder, had I not it turned into an apology parade. I was like, I wonder if I had never gone on my apology parade, would this house be talking about God as much as this house is talking about God? Because God is here. God is dwelling in this place. Anyway, so there's a lot that happened. This is very topical. I wanted to tell the story when the energy is on me, but the energy is not on me, but I still want to tell the story. So now you're going to get the abbreviated version. Anyway, so I apologized to Mom. The two daughters who saw me talking to the mother and having a very long, drawn out conversation. There was no, I'm just like, yeah, we chilling. We laughing. We communing, and she's speaking, I'm speaking. Her husband standing next to me, and I'm like, you know, sir, I don't know who you are to my husband, because he's never referred to you in a way that would make me think that he considers you a father. But I would like to work on my relationship with you. So I gave him a hug and I said, I want to get to know you as well. And this man who don't talk, like he the real strong, silent type, I had him talking, and, you know, we were engaging, and to the point where later on, the next day I walked by him, because the day that I was talking to him, I had on a t-shirt and some shorts. The next day I had on a dress, and he pulled me to a side and he was like, look, I'm going to tell you something. You give your man something to look at. The way you look today is not how you looked yesterday. You give your man something to look at. I was like, all right, Pop, I will give my man something to look at. You know, so in his way, he was telling me, if you want to work on your marriage, this is the wisdom from a man who's been on this earth for a very long time. So I am now mindful of presentation, of all six senses, right? I need my husband to pay attention to me. Say that 5 times fast. With all 6 senses. So I healed that relationship. I healed the mom relationship. I healed the son relationship. The daughters who see me talking to the mother slowly walk into the kitchen, come stand by the microwave so they could hear what's going on. They just gonna put themselves in proximity. I'm from the streets too, so I know what this is. I'm still talking to the mother. The daughters pick up that we're talking about God. We're talking about healing. We're talking about these things, working on our relationships, you know. And they come around and they walk behind me. But when they walk behind me, Mom elevates her voice so that they can hear. Like that was a signal. She sent a signal to her children. Like, I am watching this street shit happen at the family event. And I'm like, these women were ready to jump me. Whether it be verbally, were they all attacking me like, yeah, or they were ready to physically jump me. And I watched it. I was like, wow. So that's the energy that they came in this house under, that they were ready for whatever. And it's so funny to hear these same women talking about, well, I prayed before I came. What exactly were you praying for? Because you was ready to jump my ass. And I'm the one that initiated this. But you never know how God's gonna move. I initiated it because I'm the one who has the capacity to hold these conversations. I know how to have these difficult conversations. I know how to disarm people. God worked on your heart to be willing and receptive to the conversation, because if they were not willing and receptive, no matter what I said, it would have just hit a brick wall. So God softened everybody's heart. God hardens hearts and God softens hearts. And so watching the magic, the black girl magic, watching the miracles of God, healing generations, like listening to my daughter, which is not Dre's bio child, calling Dre's mother grandma, and realizing that my kids just want family. They want to call someone grandma. They want to call someone dad. They want to call someone auntie. They want to call someone cousin. In my choosing to disassociate with these people because I'm snooty, because on the conference call, I realized that I do have self-hate. For me to look at anyone who has black skin and think that I am better or think that I am anything besides anything, that's a form of self-hate. So now I have to go within myself and check myself and be like, if you look at anybody as a human, right? Because, yeah, I can have self-hate towards black people, but I also can have self-hate towards people by holding biases. That is a form of self-hate. Why? Because I'm a person. I am humanity. So for me to have any type of biases towards humanity means I have a bias against myself, and it's for me to get into that bias to dissipate it. Anything that you have a problem with, put yourself in it. That's how you eliminate the problem. Anyway, so I'm watching God move, and I'm realizing by me beefing with these women in this family, I'm depriving my family of an opportunity to experience something that they so deeply desire. She called that woman grandma. And she is an excellent wife. She is an excellent mother. She is an excellent grandma performatively. She needs to learn how to actually be effective. And in our conversation, because while I was talking to Dre's mother, God told me, you get the head, you get the tail. That's what God said. God said, if you get the matriarch, you get the whole line. And that's why we have to stop turning our backs on our elders. They know what they're saying, they just don't know how to say it to be effective. And that's why you connect into me and you figure out how to mediate those situations, how to work with those situations. God has called me to speak to elders. So if you know an elder, get them in contact with me, because what God told me is our wisdom is dying with our elders. A while back I asked, how do you know the difference between know and do? I asked that June 27th. I remember because I was with a client. And I said, what's the difference between know and do? Because she knows, but she ain't doing. So I was like, sis, what's the difference between know and do? Because you know what to do, but you ain't doing it. And at the time, I really didn't know. But when I brought that into my field of awareness, God was like, I'm going to teach you the difference between know and do. And God has been teaching me the difference between know and doing since. And the best example that I can give that is tangible to Gen Pop is, it's like baking a cake. You know all the ingredients. You know all the ingredients. That's wisdom. I know, but why aren't I doing? Because later on, I'm going to jump in this topic or jump in the story because this is relevant to what I'm talking about. I'm talking to someone else about their marriage, and then mom overhears what we're talking about. And so mom jumps in, and the guy that I'm talking to, he was like, and I'm paraphrasing, he was like, Mom, you ain't got no room to speak because you ain't doing the shit you talking about. Why you talking to me like that? And I was like, well, you're not going to disrespect her and you're not going to discount her knowledge or her wisdom, because her wisdom is wisdom. This is fucking wisdom. Just because someone doesn't know how to do or apply wisdom does not mean that they don't have wisdom. This woman has been on this earth for over 70 years. She's been married for however many decades. She knows. She just doesn't know how to do. And we are so ignorant, we're just like, well, I'm going to reject your knowledge because you don't know how to apply it. So God has called for me to speak to our elders. So if you have an elder in your family that you know that is full of wisdom, we all are. Get them in contact with me so I can talk to them, conduct an interview, and get that wisdom out of them and figure out how to apply that wisdom and then pass it on into our community so that now we all can benefit from the wisdom. And the difference between having the ingredients of a cake and knowing how to combine those ingredients to create a cake. That is the difference between wisdom and applied wisdom. That is the difference between knowing and doing. We got the ingredients. We just don't know what to do with them. But then you link up with someone like me, or you link into your community because you're surrounded by wise people. You guys can talk yourselves into a circle to where you figure some stuff out. And in the infancy, when you're just now training yourself how to think, because that's what this is thinking. We don't think. But when we teach ourselves how to think, now we can take our collective understanding, apply it, and with the help of God, now we got a beautiful cake. Anyway, so finished talking to Mom. The oldest sister's in the kitchen still making her potato salad, and I turn around, I give her a hug, and I say the same thing. It's not my desire to dishonor my husband, and no one ever taught me how to love. So I don't know how to be a sister. I don't know how, me and my sister don't talk. I'm okay if I never speak to my sister again, because I've played the situation between me and my sister so many times that every evolution of consciousness and awareness that I experience, I have played the situation between me and my sister out, and I still cannot see the humanity in what she did. I cannot justify what she did. I understand what she did, but I don't agree with what she did. And the agreement of what she did is so adverse to what I identify as humanity and how you should treat other humans, that why would I ever associate with someone who would treat another human the way that she treated me? So at that point, unless God does a thing, and God has healed a whole house of enemies, so God can do a thing. But I have zero interest in healing anything between me and her. She's not a human that I would ever care to associate with. To me, she's too far gone, and she ain't worth the effort for me. And maybe God is having me speak so about the situation. A year from now, I'm like, let me introduce you to my sister. Who knows? Because what I do know is, because God has chosen me to do the work that I'm doing, that I am experiencing adversities that aren't necessarily my adversities. They're adversities that I need to experience in order so that it can be demonstrated for you, so you understand how to overcome your adversity. You know what I'm saying? Me and my husband gonna be cool. We gonna be back on top. But we had to hit rock bottom so that we could pull everybody else that's at the bottom up with us. Because now you watching us work through our stuff, and you're like, well, shit, if she could do it, I could do it. Ain't nobody better than me, right? Did God skimp? Please stop. Yo, stop. Did God skimp when God was creating you? Well, then ain't nobody better than you. You just got to tap into your ikigai. You got to tap into your greatness. Anyway, so I'm talking to sis, and it's funny because I don't come in with any set agenda except for explaining that I'm working on love manifestation, and to honor my husband is to honor his family. So aside from that framework, everything else is freestyle. So I approached the mom from the marriage perspective. I approached the sister from the I've never learned how to love. And so now she's telling me, you know, from her perspective, and she's like, sis, you know, and disarmed her. Boom. She's just ready to jump me. Disarmed her. But God. You know, and so we're having a conversation, yada, yada, yada. I'm looking for the youngest sister so that I could go, I'm like, oh, I'm on my apology train, you know, parade or whatever. And I'm looking for the younger sister, but she disappears. But I see the best friend, and I know that I have dishonored my husband by mocking his past, by saying his friends aren't real friends, or they're not quality friends, or whatever. You know, they're not my kind of friendship. Like, if I'm your brother, we just need to either redefine what brotherhood and sisterhood looks like, or we need to understand that the people that we call brother and sister, we're not treating them as such, right? We got to pay attention to how we treat people. Like, what does sister look like? What does brother look like? Like, if you're not living up to your definition of what it should look like, why are you calling me brother? Why are you calling me sister? Because you barely know me. And when we do talk, we talk about bullshit. Like, is that brotherhood? You're over there suffering over there by yourself trying to figure stuff out, and you can't tell your brothers? That's not brotherhood to me. But it's not for me to criticize. I can observe things without being critical of it, right? So I apologize to the best friend. And he's like, yeah, that's my bro, that's my brother. I'm like, okay, I just wanted to apologize to you because I've dishonored you. And in dishonoring you, I've dishonored my husband. So I just wanted to apologize. Bounce from him to his wife. And his wife is someone who discusses her marital issues on social media. I do too, but I discuss my issues in life, period, not just marital issues, but I discuss my issues in life, period, as teaching points, right? There's a difference between putting your business out there to put your business out there. There's a difference between putting your business out there because you're frustrated and this is your only outlet and you're screaming for help. And there's another reason, you know, you put your business out there because here's what we can learn from. So my life is a classroom. So I put my business out there simply because we can learn from this. So yeah, me and my husband we're on the brink of divorce, but here's what we're doing to pull ourselves back. So yes, you're allowed to know that there's some chinks in the armor, but you know there's chinks in the armor because we working them chinks out versus there being chinks in the armor and you just know there's chinks in the armor. You know what I'm saying? So she's one of the people who posts about her frustrations in her relationship because she's just crying out for help, not because she's a help, but she needs help, and no one can help her if she remains silent. And so in one of those cry outs, she said something online, and then I'm friends with both of them, or I was at the time. I don't know if I still am. And her husband posts something that pretty much implies that she's a liar. And being as I'm friend, like my definition of friend, you got to check what your definition of friend is versus other people's definition of friend. Me being a friend and having definition of friend is versus other people's definition of friend. Me being a friend and having he says what he says. He calls her a liar, essentially. And I was like, what you're not going to do is call sis a liar when we know everything that she's saying is true. Own your shit. But back then, you know, the way that I spoke truth was very abrasively. And so even though I was saying the truth, I was said it in a very inflammatory way. And I felt justified because it's the truth. And I'm the outsider, right? Which is a problem. But I'm the outsider, and so how dare the outsider say something? So all of Dre's friends are calling him saying, you need to get your wife, and she's disrespectful, and da-da-da-da-da-da. I was like, I don't give a fuck. what he thinks, she think. I don't care what none of them motherfuckers think. Because the two people I was talking to, first of all, they put this shit on the internet. And I said it in my thing. I was like, I'm saying this publicly because you posted this publicly. You delete this comment if you want to. But you don't get to publicly play in your wife's face and think I, as her sister, as her friend, am going to sit here and allow you to disrespect her. I'm not. All those other people who are friends can watch you disrespect her, and that's their business. No, not me. Now, I mind my business now, but I will take you privately to the side. I will take my sis privately to the side and say, is this what you deserve? Is this what manifestation of love looks like for you at this stage in your life? I understood this is what it looked like when you first entered into this love contract, but now that we are here and you have progressed in your life, is this what love looks like to you? If it's not, we've got to do something about that, because there's no reason why you are existing and tolerating your marriage. No reason. So anyway, I go to her and I say, you know, I apologize. Because even in that time, I called him. After I cussed him out online, I called him and I was like, you understand why I said what I said? He's like, yeah, da-da-da-da. So we had a conversation. Regardless of what he was saying behind my back, I spoke to him and he knew what the fuck I was talking about. So everybody else, I don't care. Whatever side conversations he has, I don't care. I spoke to him and I let, you know, understand what the fuck I'm saying? Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Okay, cool, boom. I said what I said and I meant what I meant. Stop playing in her face. Stop being an old dog ass, want nothing ass nigga up in this motherfucker. Grow the fuck up. Nigga, you about to be 50. Grow the fuck up. Anyway, none of my business. So I go to sis and I'm just like, I apologize because I've dishonored you. And I just had an idea. Anyway, so I could turn that into a game. Hold on, let me get me a pen and paper. I think I could do that quick too. Anyway, so she and we start talking. I was just like, I understand that your posts are cries for help. You just want someone, you're frustrated, you feel trapped. So she and I go outside and we're looking at the sunset. It's beautiful. We're in this beautiful house, mountains right there, birds flying. Like, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. And I was just like, what we learned in our meeting, our conference call earlier was, this is the day that the Lord has made specifically for me. Specifically for me, this day has been made, but it was also made specifically for you. So if we know that this day was constructed specifically for me, what can I take from this day? How can I use this day? How can I be in gratitude? How can I grow? How can I use this day? And I just was like, do you want your marriage? That's usually how I start my conversations with people who are in couples and they start complaining about their spouses. And I'm like, do you want this relationship? If you don't, that's a different plan of action than if you do. And she was like, no, but you know, finances. I was just like, well, we can't use that as an excuse, because we understand in your life, regardless of what the finances have been, you have figured out a way out, haven't you? And she's like, yeah. She's like, but these kids, I don't think they have bio children, but there's kids involved. And I was like, again, in your life, I bet you there are circumstances where you picked your kids up and got the fuck up out of there with two pennies in your pocket. So what we have to understand at this point, these are things that God is using to anchor you into a space. For me in my marriage, when we were going through one of the highest points of, nigga, if I had the money, I would be gone. You know, my kids. And you could go through the content to see But so many people are like, oh, it's so stupid to stay for the kids. Da, 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 da. Well, yeah, when you look at things from a worldly perspective, it is. When you look at things from God is doing a thing, you use whatever you got to use in the physical reality to allow the time for God to do a thing. And those of you who receive that, receive that. So it's like you have to understand that financing the children is what God's using to keep you anchored into this spot. Because if you leave this relationship today, you will either go find another him, or you will resolve, I'm just going to stay single. And I know that's not what you want for yourself. You don't want to just stay single. You want companionship. You want love. Whatever the reasons why you married this man in the first place, that's what you desire. You didn't stop desiring that. You just got a dud. And if he doesn't have a coachable spirit, then we got to do something about that, right? If he does have a coachable spirit, then you have to decide how much of kicking and screaming you're going to fight through. I can help you, but I would have to coach you and coach him. I have to coach you together, coach you separate, coach. Otherwise, I got to coach you to a point where you can coach him, and that's a longer process, but it's possible if you want the marriage, if you want the relationship. So we had that conversation, did some healing work there, came into the house, and now the children, I say children, the 20-year-olds are starting to arrive, have some conversations with them. The little sister shows up, because at this point I'm like, I'm done with my apology parade. It's been hours. I'm done. But then the little sister shows up, and Spirit's like, if you apologize to the mother and the older sister and you don't apologize to the younger sister, one, there's two, and then there's one. These two understand what happened. This one doesn't. So this one still got that fire on her. And so this one is coming at them with the fire, and they're like, well, no, but because she's so influential, that fire can reignite their fire, and now I got problem with 3 again. So also, I didn't want the younger sister to feel a kind of way. Well, why did she talk to you two, but she didn't talk to me? So now that's creating a whole nother space of energy. So at that time, I was like, she'll just hear about it. I'm done with this. This is the flesh. I'm done with this apology parade. I done said sorry to the people. I'm saying sorry. Everybody else just gonna hear about it because it's been hours. But Spirit's like, go talk to the younger sister. So I go to the younger sister and I say the same thing. I apologize. I don't mean to dishonor you, because by dishonoring you is dishonoring my husband, and I will no longer dishonor my husband. And again, I come to her in the respect that no one ever taught me how to love. So I'm learning how to love and to manifest how to be in a family. I don't have family, even though my family will consider themselves family. And my dad told me, it's so offensive when you say you don't have family. Well, I ain't talked to you in over a year. What does family look like to you? Yeah, I got the same genetic makeup and DNA posting through my veins as other people, but I ain't got no family. This is my family. The motherfuckers in this house is my family. So yeah, I don't have a family, so I don't know how to be family. So now that I'm in a family that is, they don't know how to manifest love, but they know how to be a family. But they don't know how to love each other, which is, once I learn how to love each other, now once I get the matriarch and teach the matriarch how to love, now because she is so powerful, my mother-in-law, I'm going to call her my mother, because my mother told me later that she gifted this moment to me. But my mother is so powerful that if I retrain her, she can go down and change your whole bloodline. That's how powerful she is. Well, this whole time, this sister that I'm talking to, she is a sister who has 7 children, and everybody has said how bad these children are. Bad, bad, bad. I was like, send them to me for 3 weeks. I'll get them together. She's like, nah, they're beyond help. And my stepson, my husband's son, he walks up, and I'm like, Adoy says, could my mom help these kids? And he's like, you could get them for the 3 weeks and you would be able to change their lives, but then they would go back into their environment and they would just revert back to where they were. So we have to understand that if we are trying to change our lives, we must remove ourselves from the environment, whether it's a physical environment, whether it's a mental environment, whether it's a verbal environment, whatever environment it is. We can't, be reading a book. We can't be reading a book. This is the book I'm reading right now. We can't be reading a book, and then while we're reading the book, we feel good. As soon as we close the book, we revert back. So we have to make sure that we are paying attention to that. And that's not this, so I'm not going to go on that tangent. But, I'm having the conversation with the younger sister. She spits her wisdom. Everybody's spitting me wisdom, but all of them are denying the fact that they said the things that she said. They said, because she also said, I never spoke against your marriage, and da-da-da-da-da. I was like, I literally saw the comment on my husband's post that said, I told you to divorce her ass a long time ago. But now you're sitting in front of me telling me that, I just knew you guys I mind my business. I just knew y'all had to work your stuff out. I was like, okay, I understand you can't be trusted, but that don't mean that we can't grow this relationship, because it is imperative that we grow this relationship, because I have to get to your children. I cannot allow you to raise the next generation of ratchet. And this is, I'm not using language, this is ratchet, disrespectful, promiscuous, drug-infused, alcohol-infused, pipeline to prison and poverty generation. I can't allow you to do that. Not if I honor my husband. I have to do what I can do, and I gotta get the mama and the mama, right? So I have to build rapport with the 3 women in this family in order to change the family tree, in order to alter the DNA, in order to create a legacy worth being proud of, holding your last name. I got to get to all 3 of y'all. So that's why God had me apologize to all 3 of y'all, and now I have to have a relationship with all 3 of y'all, which is fine, because I love a good pet project. We're going to get all 7 of them kids. And my goal is for my children to have more of a relationship with their children, and their children to have more relationships. So my children going to where they're at, her children come to where my children are at, moving, visiting more. It's been years. Like, the last time I saw her children, they were children, and I saw one of her kids on FaceTime, and I thought I was looking at a grown woman. So I'm just like, whoa, it's been too long. And granted, I don't know you and you don't know me, but we need to remedy that, because we're family. And we have to figure out, we have some people like, my family doesn't want to be family. My family is okay with the version of family. My family is okay. I see you at Thanksgiving. I see you at da-da-da. I have a close-knit relationship with the people I choose to, but we're still family. I don't want that for myself. Thank you for the love. I don't want that for myself. So I was okay to say my family is myself, my offspring, and my husband. And this is what I'm going to cultivate. And as they have children, creating that family atmosphere from here. Because for me, within my bloodline, to go into my family, they're not interested in being family. This is their definition of family. To me, I don't have the same definition, but I cannot create that with people who are okay with their own definition. Because I've tried that. I've tried, okay, cousin, we're going to talk to each other every Sunday. That lasted 2 weeks. No, it lasted 2 weeks. The first week she forgot to call me, and I called her and she didn't answer. In the second week she answered, and then she trauma dumped on me, and so I solved her problems. Like, this is the fuck I do. I don't live in the world of problems. I live in the world of solutions. So I solved her problems, and she got really mad at me because she's a therapist by trade, and she was like, you don't help people unless they ask for help. I asked you, can I be honest with you? That was my way of asking you if I could help you. I was like, do you want me to be honest with you? Sure. Boom. Solution. Oh, I didn't ask you to help me. I'm like, bitch, I'm not a professional. Me saying, can I be real with you, was me asking for permission. I'm sorry if I am so sorry that you were so attached to this problem. It is so much of your identity that I have messed up your identity. And now you got to find out a way to be somebody else because you can no longer be broken. My bad. Like, it didn't make sense to me, and it still doesn't make sense to me. That's why I said it in a sarcastic way. But it's just like, okay. So that's my family. So now I look at my husband, who the mother wants to be in her child's life and wants to know her child. And, oh yeah, wow. I try to tell stories in such a topical way that I'm no longer telling people's business, but I'm still allowed to tell my truth, right? So we don't need to go into the depths of what it was, but this person has been experiencing an emotional state that is detrimental to them living the life that they desire. And I told them how to overcome that. And they got mad at me for doing it because they didn't ask me for the help. And I was like, oh, well, I know I bumped up against your profession. I bumped up against your superiority because you think you're better than me. I bumped up against your identity. I bumped up against all these different things because I know what the fuck is up, because I know where all my knowledge comes from. I know where my awareness comes from God. So I don't have to guess what just happened. I know it just happened. It's bigger than me solving your problem. Now, someone who you thought you were better than just did something that you couldn't do. Your whole life, you couldn't overcome this. And somebody you think you're better than just fixed it. And you're like, I am. It's not this story. So, talk to the younger sister. But what Spirit did tell me, it was the relativity for me. They ask for your gifts, but have technicalities. That's it. Like, how do you want to experience me? Like, you want my help, but you don't want to do the work. That's the thing, right? You want someone to help you. You're struggling. You are drowning. You are fucking drowning. And somebody comes with the life preserver, but it's pink. I prefer a blue life preserver. Did you want me to help you or not? Like, get this fucking life preserver. You know, so it's just, it's people, and you just gotta move in the space of the peopling. But she taught me a lot in that, right? Now I don't help nobody. I will sit there and watch somebody and be like, and then when I offer help, son, please leave. And then when I offer help, I only offer help to the depth that they're willing to go. The moment I bump up against resistance, I'm like, all right, have a great day. You know, that's when you realize they just choose trauma and want to hear themselves. Amen. I have seen those posts where just like, a person that talks to multiple people about something isn't because they want solutions, it's because they want to something. Line into what you just said. Yeah. So I talked to this sister, but what Spirit told me, because my husband also has an aunt, a cousin, and his cousin is married that live in Arizona. And I'm on my family apology train, right? And so but Spirit said, do not apologize to them. And so I was thinking I was moving an ego because honestly, I don't owe his aunt an apology. I've never disrespected his aunt, and my beef with his aunt is because she thought it was okay to come into my birthing suite when she wasn't invited. You don't invite someone into their birthing suite. Somebody is pushing a baby out of their vagina, you don't just walk in. You don't do it. I don't care who you are. And so she invited herself into my birthing suite, and I have a problem with that. So for her to stand in a position where she feels that I owe her an apology, I have disrespected his mother. I have disrespected his sister. I have not disrespected his aunt. I just don't fuck with her because she's not my kind of people. And so this is the flesh. The flesh, when Spirit's like, don't apologize to her, the flesh was like, hell yeah, high five, we ain't apologizing to shit. You know, because I didn't have to humble myself. God humbled me. So there's a difference. There's a difference between you humbling yourself, because that is active brain. I have to, okay. And that has to happen, right? But because I'm in the space of love does not dishonor, I am here to honor my husband, whatever it takes. So in that, I have humbled myself. Now, if God calls me to go apologize to his mama, I have to be like, all right. And I had already done that in order to get to the space of, by the time I made it to apologizing to people, I had humbled myself in private. And so when it comes to the aunt, and Spirit was like, don't apologize to her. I was like, dap up, show as hell ain't. Because I don't owe her an apology. So she's standing in front of me while I'm sending a text message to the ladies who were on my chat. And I'm just like, or to my in the conference call, and I'm like, yo, this apology tour has literally turned into the Holy Spirit moving in this house. Like, I am watching God heal generations right now. It's amazing. And I put my phone down, and the friend at the time said, babe. He was calling his wife, and I looked up. Not because of anything, just instinct. You hear babe, you look up. So I look up, and the aunt is standing in front of me. And so I was just like, well, I don't want to be rude. I'm not rude. Love is kind, right? What is some other stuff? Never fails, self-seeking, slow to anger, no record of wrong, does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth, always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. So kind. Love is kind. So I am love. Not that I love her, but I am love. I am God's divine love manifest as often as possible in my life. So I give her a hug. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Da, 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 da. Hug the cousin and the wife. Usually what I will do once I get my plate is I'll go sit next to the aunt or the elders and entertain them so they're not sitting off in the corner by themselves. That is my way of showing respect and honoring the elders. But I also am in a space of being authentic and true to myself and not putting myself in situations that do not serve me. Then I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you. Don't want to talk to you. I don't do small talk. I don't do small talk anymore. I will rather sit silent and be okay with the silence. I used to feel like I had to be the person to fill the silence. But now I know that I'm a person who is just, I'm in this space like you're in this space. It's not my job to entertain you. If you don't know how to have a conversation, it's not my job to guide you through a conversation. And I really don't care what you think. Maybe I'll find a better way to say that in the future. I'm really not concerned with your thoughts. I don't talk about what other people talk about. Like, I love intellectual conversation, but if your intellectual conversation is about topical stuff, I don't care. Like, one of the conversations that they were having, we're talking about the homeless problem, the homelessness issues. And, there was no solution it was just talking about the problem. Like, really prolifically saying that this is why this is the problem. This is why this is the problem. This is why this is the problem. Okay, what's the solution? Oh, you don't have any, so you're just talking to talk. I'm not a part of that conversation. Anyway, so I go sit on the opposite side of the table, and I'm with, my friends, my husband's friend and his wife. And we're not really talking about nothing. They're interacting with each other, and I'm just eating my food, and I hear the conversation, bits and pieces. Now, I don't know what they were talking about, but I can discern if God brought these particular words to me, they were meant for me, right? When we overhear something, we're like, man, I need the whole context to be able to know what I'm listening to. But also, this is the day that the Lord has made specifically for me. So me overhearing these words have to have some sort of meaning to me. Now, they can have meaning in the respect that, are you going to just say it's about you and run off with it and you make your own, conclusions from there? Or what are you going to do with it? And initially I was like, okay, I don't know what she was talking about. So she may or may not have been talking about me. So I can't just assume it's about me. Understand, when I talk about my journey, I'm talking about my journey. I'm not on my journey at the same place that you're on your journey. So yes, it is best practices, if you overhear something, get the full context before you make your determinations. The space that I'm at on my journey, I understand if God had me hear something, I was supposed to hear it. And I heard her say, I don't care, I'm still upset, or something like that. And I was just like, what I believe to be happening is the mother went to her sister and was like, this is what Lonnie has been doing, we're cool with Lonnie now. And sis girl was like, I don't care, I'm still upset. This is what I'm coming to conclusion with, based off of the information that I have, based off of my intuition, based off my spirit of discernment, based off of the work that I've done with myself and my relationship with God. She was talking about, I don't care, if she don't apologize to me, I still got a problem. And I was like, you're going to wait on that apology, sis, because God already told me not to apologize to you. Now, I have had a conversation with God since then where I was just like, when she does this, this will be my indicator to offer her an apology. Before then, if I apologize to her, it will be performative. It will be because I apologize to everybody else, I might as well apologize to her. No, I'm moving in obedience. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this to set me free. That's why they say forgiveness is for you. It's not for them. I'm doing this to set me free. So I'm not apologizing you. For one, in the flesh, I owe you nothing. You owe me an apology. And two, I'm not apologizing to you because God told me not to. You ain't a part of this apology parade. So I, later on when I came home, because I came home a day earlier than everybody else, because I was just over it. Like, when God stops moving, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'll be having a conversation and I'll be like, oh, well, shit, I got what I need from this. Do you need anything else? Like, I'll be out. As soon as I get my blessing, I'll be like, and it's not me being selfish. It's I know I'm in this space for a reason. And I don't need to be in this space any longer than I need to be, because at that point, we're now moving in our own agenda instead of God's agenda. We need to always move in God's agenda as much as possible. And so later when I got home, what Spirit told me, and if you're familiar with your Bible, God often leaves witnesses. Someone left behind to tell the story. A witness is someone who saw it, but didn't experience it firsthand. The aunt has to remain in the energetic space that she is. She was not permitted to experience the miracle, because a miracle happened this weekend in that house. Women who came into that home ready to conflict with me and ready to disrespect me, ready for anything, literally positioned themselves. If they had to jump me, they were ready. Are now women that mom gave me homework. Sis, we gonna start talking. Like, we got plans to really work on some stuff. And, Dad was like, let's not make it longer than a year the next time we see each other. Like, he liked it. He enjoyed being able to be seen, because he's usually a fly on the wall. They usually disrespect him because he doesn't make the best life choices. But I see him differently than everybody else sees him, and he appreciated being seen. And he was like, let's not let it go longer than a year before we see each other. And I was like, I know, shoot, what has it been, 4 years? And he was like, that's not what I said. I said, let's not go longer than a year. I was like, noted. So yeah, it was magical. And what Spirit told me is the sister is the witness. The sister is to remain in that bitter, broken energy while the mother heals, while the daughters heal. And the daughters and the mother are going to continuously start progressing based off of the work that was done. Nothing but God. I was the vessel. And the sister or the aunt is just gonna watch. She's going to witness the miracles of God. And the only way that she can tap into the miracles of God is if she makes it right with me, because I am the vessel that God has chosen in this particular case. God chooses vessels all the time, but in this particular case, God communicated through me and offered healing through me. But God said, leave a witness. So she's the witness. That way we know God is real. Mom didn't do nothing. Sis didn't do nothing. Lonnie didn't do nothing. God did it. And we're going to see, because these relationships are going to heal. These people are going to elevate and escalate, or, grow their lives to their highest potential based on the God energy that is working between us. And Auntie's just going to watch it happen. So, and she can get in on it, but God knows what she needs to do in order to get from me. God may have another plan for her. I'm not the only access point, but she ain't going to access nothing through me until she make it right. Until God says different. Same thing with my sister, until God says different. I ain't fucking with nobody until God says different. Something that was truly magical, and then I'm going to get off this live, was Mom was speaking about marriage. Mom's been married for decades. Success, failure of the marriage doesn't matter. Like I said, it's baking a cake. You can have the ingredients, you can have the wisdom, the applied wisdom, or knowing how to make the cake is something different. But just because you don't know how to make a cake, like, I have all these pieces, I just don't know how to put them together. Am I supposed to discount your pieces? No, tell me your pieces, and maybe I can help you figure it out. Let's put this puzzle together. So Mom was talking about marriage, and the lady who is contemplating leaving her marriage, she was walking by, and I was like, hey, Mom's sharing some stuff about marriage. Come join the conversation real quick. And she's like, no, we talk all the time. We talk for hours. Like, kind of, you just started talking to her. I've been talking to her kind of energy. And I know that's residual energy, that she didn't mean it. She didn't know she was doing it. I took offense to it because I was just like, oh, that's how you feel. But I also have to understand it's residual energy. She doesn't know she's manifesting it, and she doesn't mean it. So I have to put ego to the side and understand, like, if I were to say, did you know that you did that? She would probably say, no, I didn't. Because we're so used to being offended by each other and being defensive to each other. So when she said that, I was like, no, I was just calling you over here as a gesture of sisterhood. I know that Miss Janice is about to talk about marriage, and you're a married woman. So I was just like, she might say something that could be pivotal to the married women in the room. So that's why I called you over. Not because of like, look, I got her talking. She talks to me all the time. Hours, actually. Like, it wasn't that energy. It was like, sis, you about to divorce your husband and be 50-something years old out here single. And who knows if you going to get another man before the time is up. She might tell us something to help us either cope. Because some of us just got to settle for coping. Unfortunately, what's the best way you can cope? I don't want that for anybody, but it's somebody's truth. Or she could teach us how to thrive. Let's see. So she comes over. She wasn't gonna come over, but she came over, and Mom was like, yeah, marriage. And she's like, the Holy Spirit is talking to me. And she looks that woman dead in her eyes, and she delivers a message from the Holy Spirit to her. And I watched her do it. And I just broke down in tears. I was like, my God. Because I've never seen someone that can do what I do. I've never seen someone that delivers God's messages. Like, I get it, but the confidence that she did it under, I just knew she was me. That's all I can say. People deliver God's messages all the time. If I have a conversation with you, you're delivering messages for me, period. Music delivers messages, TV, imagery, everything is delivering a message if you're paying attention. So God delivers messages all the time, but I've never seen anyone do what I do. And I just broke down and cried because I was like, This woman who has this gift has been in my life for at least 7 years. And I've never known that this gift existed. But thank God that I found it this way, because if I would have came in knowing she had this gift, I would have been trying to use her for her gift. And now I want to honor her for her gift. I want to honor her because she is the mother of my husband. But now I'm her daughter. That's my mama. Because she's me. And just to think of how I ended up in the same room as her. So I just cried. And so when she's done delivering her message to the other woman, I don't know what she said to her, because I was in my own space just like, Lord, and it wasn't a disruptive cry. Ah! It was a, put my head down, because I'm respecting the room that I'm in, right? While we're having our own experiences, we must respect others in those experiences. And that's what I was just going through this whole weekend, where it's just like everybody just being loud. I'm trying to have a conversation with this young man right here, and then here comes birthday boy just being completely loud and obnoxious. And then so everybody else is starting, because, people are weird. Anyway, everybody starts being loud and obnoxious and totally disrespecting the fact that, yes, we're all sitting at the same table. Is it possible for y'all to have y'all's, ignorance collaboration over here just a little bit volume controlled so that we can continue our conversation over here? Why do people who are trying to have a serious conversation have to get up and isolate themselves because y'all motherfuckers don't know how to control your volume? Y'all motherfuckers don't know how to respect that there's other people in the room with you. Teach your children, when you enter into a room, turn off any sound that you have going on. If you're playing music, turn it off. If you're listening to something, turn it off. Why? Because when you enter a room, turn it off. When you enter a room, you don't know what's going on in that room and you don't want to disrupt it. So teach your children to respect the room that they're walking into. That will give them one less hurdle that they have to overcome as an adult. Because they walking in, but people in here watching TV, people in here having a conversation, people in here vibing, and here you come, hey, I'm here now. Like, your arrival just dampened the mood. Come in with respect to what's already going on. And if you do have something you want to keep listening to your movie, turn the volume down. Respect the room that you entered. And if somebody was already in the room, fortunately, that person's controlling the room. You are a guest in their space. So move as they determine. Period. That's just respect, because when you're in a room and you're controlling the space, don't you want to be respected? So this is treating others how you want to be treated. Anyway, so after mom talks to old girl, she turns and she looks at me, and I stand up and I just want you to understand how powerful this moment is. That me, Lonnie, a person that has chosen to disrespect you, however I have disrespected you in the past, I am yielding to you in crying, shedding tears in front of you. So this is a very powerful moment. And so after we have that exchange, yeah, it was just amazing. So the Holy Spirit, God, whatever, walked the halls of that Airbnb this weekend. And then when I got home, I was like, okay, let me holler at the ancestors. And so I'm opening up my ancestral altar, and the back of it is like gets caught on something, and I go and see what it's caught on, and it's my mother's name, because I carved her name out in wood when I was in the 7th grade. It's my mom's name. And I'm like, Mom, did you set this up? And what crossed my mind after that was, yeah, I just gifted you a mother. Because recently I have been in a space where I was just like, man, I know what my mother was now. I wish that I could talk to her in the physical world with today's knowing. But she gone. But Miss Janice, my husband's mother, she has the same capabilities that my mom has. And so my mom said, I just gifted you a mom. So with that said, it was a magical weekend, and I really wanted to tell that story. because it was one for the history books. So you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later.